So yes, it is in the video.
Talking about fire assessments.
I totally agree with you, 10%.
All right, we'll go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Sanford City Commission for Monday, July 13th, 2026. First order of business is our legislative prayer, which will be led by Dr. Joel Hunter of the Central Florida Pledge. Dr. Hunter.
Please stand. Lord, we ask for your Spirit to be among us tonight so that what we do may be a benefit to all people. Give us wisdom that is beyond our own, and give us charity and compassion so that this community can become a beloved community. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter.
Thank you for short and sweet.
And then we will call Dr. Hunter back up for a presentation of the Central Florida Pledge.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, we're very glad to have Dr. Hunter and Gal Cade here. They're going to share with us information about the pledge. The mayor and I attended a Sanford Chamber meeting, and they came and they made a presentation. We thought it'd be good for them to have it for the entire chamber. So, Dr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Bonaparte. We have an initial video to show you, and then I'll speak for a few minutes, and then our Vice President RK will follow up with details.
Somebody broke it. Who's been playing with our toys? Oh, I would love to see that.
That may be better. Or you might get out your phone.
Yeah, that's right. Don't offer if you're not going to.
You might be more famous than you think if that happens.
Kara changed my seat because it was not like this at the work.
I tell you what, we can just do it with slides, okay? I want to respect your time and
Will you also do your best impression of Allen Ginsberg?
that guy is awesome. He's got the greatest sense of humor. Do you know Alan?
Oh, not personally, no.
Oh my God, 88 years old. I cannot keep over the guy, and he's got hilarious. He's not satisfied until
We're living in a time
Oh, here.
when disagreement feels like a breaking point. If you disagree, you're expected to pick a side or walk away. That's not how communities are built. What we're seeing this year is something different. We've seen people choose to care, even when agreement wasn't there. We've seen leaders from different faiths stay at the table, not to convince one another, but to stand together for the sake of others. We've seen educators create a space for hard conversations, choosing dialogue instead of division. We've seen students come together across difference, learning that showing up matters. We've seen curiosity replace fear, presence replace persuasion. We've seen people show up when it mattered most. This is what happens when people decide not to walk away. If you're not ready to agree, that's okay. You don't have to agree to care. Care keeps the door open. Care keeps us human. Care keeps us connected. Just care.
So basically, the pledge is an effort to change the culture of our region. It came into existence upon the attacks in Israel in 2023 from the terrorist group, and then the resulting devastating war that followed. And what we saw in Central Florida was a rise in incidents of anti-Semitism, corresponding rise in incidents of Islamophobia. Of course, we've always had a problem with racism. There were incidents of anti-homophobia. And so basically, we got about 150 of the leaders of Central Florida together. This is Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties. We're a hyper-local focus. We're not trying to change the country, not trying to solve the problems in the world, not even trying to solve the problems of the state. But this is about our neighbors. And this is a movement of neighbors and how we treat our neighbors. And so basically out of that gathering, there came a pledge of basically 4 commitments. I will treat everyone with respect, especially those with whom I disagree. I will not increase the division by acts or words that are inflammatory. So we bridle our tongue. The third one is I will report incidents of hate. And the fourth is I will educate myself about all forms of discrimination so that I can be better at this. So let me tell you what we had planned on just a momentary couple of years of let's make sure this doesn't happen in our community. And it was working. I mean, we've got this huge student organization. Demonstrations that were going on in the rest of the country weren't going on here. CNN sent down a team to the University of Central Florida because they heard there was going to be a riot there. But the pledge was signed on by the student government unanimously there. And so the Jewish students were talking to the Palestinian students, and there was no demonstration. There was conversation and dialogue. And that's the kind of culture we want to create. What has surprised us is that what started out as a let's minimize the damage movement turned into, well, if we can do that, let's work together to solve problems regionally that we haven't been able to solve so far. So we went from a negate the negative to let's turn into the positive. Well, another surprise happened. We started getting organizations that wanted to sign on. And I mean like 800-pound gorilla organizations. And you can see some of them up there. Of course, you're interested in cities, so there's City of Orlando, City of Oviedo, and the Seminole Leadership Group, so on and so forth. So 75 organizations, Sanford Regional Chamber of Commerce. So basically people are saying this. I know in our country right now, we have a huge problem with polarization and division and name calling and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, show that next slide. This, according to a survey, national survey in February of this year, so this is just a few months old, 78% of Americans are dissatisfied with how we treat each other. 77% believe it's getting worse, and 74% report feeling exhausted by the level of division in our society. And you might translate that into division in your friendships, in your places of worship, in your families around the Thanksgiving table. And 76% of employees witnessed workplace incivility in the past month. And so we know we have a cultural problem, but what we also know is that it's solvable if we make a personal commitment. I'm not going to be a part of the problem. I'm going to be a part of the solution. And I can do that no matter how I feel by treating someone with respect, no matter who they are or what they believe. This isn't about kumbaya stuff. Let's get everybody to agree. This makes it safe to disagree. That's how our country was built, by the way. It was built on disagreements, and that's how we got better, because we heard the other side and we could still work together. And so at this 250-year anniversary, it seems like this would be a good time to make commitments as groups. And Sanford, I love Sanford. Sanford is such a great city, and it's kind of becoming the deal, you know? I mean, everybody's kind of thinking, oh man, Sanford, this is not just a quaint little historic place anymore. This is really a center of culture and arts and commerce and so on and so forth. So Sanford becomes more and more important and can set more and more of the tone and an example. And I know many of you on this commission, this is your heart already. I'm preaching to the choir here. Forgive the religious reference. You already know this. You already believe this. But if we can declare it officially, this is the kind of community we want to build, we're going to be better off for it. I'm going to ask RK to come up and give you just some of the tools we have to build this kind of community.
Thank you, Joel, and thank you to the mayor and the commissioners for letting us join you this evening and all of citizens assembled here. My role is to work with Joel and the team at the Central Florida Pledge, not to build out a giant organization. We're actually lean and mean, but to help network organizations and providers of content, training, things that'll help us achieve this goal of dialogue across disagreement in a constructive way. In your packet, you'll see our values and the I wills and the Central Florida Business Network outline. A few things I wanted to just mention to all of you for your awareness and the citizens here and the residents. First of all, we have an enormous youth arm. And in November 14th, we're having a 1,000-student free conference. Send us your student leaders. I know City of Sanford has a student council, so to speak. I met several of them at Sanford Speaks. They were very impressive young people from various schools. And this is something that through Rosen Hotels and the Pledge and other sponsors that we are bringing free into the community, because really our student leaders are our future. We have several partner organizations, like I mentioned. I know when you're a busy person serving in government or serving in corporate America like I did, you don't have time to do the networking and the research. And we seek to be that partner for you. We have vetted several local and national organizations, some of which you know. And one of those we've just entered a really exciting partnership with, and that is the Dignity Index. The Dignity Index, commissioners and mayor, you'll find that on the back of this little card, is an 8-point barometer scale in how we speak. Second point of the pledge is I will refrain from inflammatory dialogue. I always say that's fine until I'm on I-4, and then it all goes out the window. Or a couple other moments that I care not to mention. So we will be, once organizations that join our team, our network, we will be offering opportunities to bring the Dignity Index training with certified facilitators into workplaces, churches, government organizations, neighborhood organizations. So that's coming, and we also have Dr. Joel's next book, The Pledge's Approach to Faith and Politics. We know we're going into electoral season now. That'll be interesting, and locally and across our country. And we will be hosting several sessions, live and Zoom in, for people to really explore, how do I keep my faith intact? How do I keep my friendships intact and still participate in the political situation that's gotten pretty hot? So those are a few things that we have going on right now. So we invite you to join us and take the next step. The pledge is for individuals as well as organizations, and I thank you, Norton, for the invitation, and Art for the invitation here to share the pledge. And Joel and I will take any questions or follow-up that you have.
Hi, thanks for the wonderful presentation. I have a couple of questions. One, I want to hear more about this industrial complex that was mentioned on one of your slides.
Yeah. There is this was put out by the Dignity Index.
Which I think we've seen from the Peace and Just Institute. It's very similar to that, if not the same thing they use.
This is, this basically, the Peace and Justice Institute speaks more of personal transformation. This is for groups.
Okay.
We have the capability. For example, one of the things you saw in that video was when a group of fundamentalist Christians interrupted a local congregation because it was a gay congregation, and they interrupted their public worship service, said this is a den of Satan, and so on and so forth. The next Sunday, we had 70 people from the community, leaders from the community, all faiths, some no faith, but we were there as neighbors, saying, if you're going to attack anybody, any group, you're going to have to come through us. So that's not something PJI can do. That's something that we can do. Okay. We can mobilize people to actually stand with our neighbors who are being attacked for who they are and what they believe. But beyond that, when we get sectors working together, I was the chairman of the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness for a while, and we had wonderful people on that committee, but we didn't move the needle because a problem that big takes an entire region, every sector working on it.
It still does. I'm on that committee.
Yeah. So you know that, and so what Sanford does, if Sanford will sign on to this, it becomes a part of a larger network, of resources and thinking and relationships, so that problems can be solved that couldn't just be solved by affinity groups or interested people. Anybody else?
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Not a question, but I've followed you for a long time. I used to attend your church.
You look familiar.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud to have been a member of your church and see what you've done in your retirement. You're making a difference in this community and in Central Florida, and I've been curious for a while why we haven't heard from you. So I'm glad you're finally here. And if if I have anything to do with this, I would like to see this commission as a whole make the pledge.
Thank you.
And if they don't, then I am 100% on board.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. And I'm still in the pastor. I'm pastor of community benefit. That's what I do these days.
Okay.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
And so, but I love the idea. And Sanford is so, I'm sorry, I'm taking too long here, but Sanford is so suited for this because not only are you an example of community that that prizes diversity and cooperation for the sake of neighbors, but you're doing well to get past some of the things that are just tearing the rest of the cultures apart, rest of the communities apart. I was just, I had to work this in. President Obama asked me to come and do the invocation at the dedication of his presidential center a few weeks ago, and so I'm there with all these past presidents, you know. And of course, I'd worked with President Bush as well with his faith-based initiatives, but I'm up there praying, and I'm thinking, 250 years ago, we did not rely on a strong federal government. We did not rely on a strong state government. It was communities that built this country. It was neighbors who worked with neighbors that built this country. And I'm just praying for that for the next 250 years. And that's part of what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
That's a good goal.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And I would say, I did sign the pledge as mayor when it first came out, and to be perfectly honest, I sort of forgot about it after I did it. So I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad to see how far this is coming. But I would like for the city to sign on as a city partner. And I'm not sure what the process is. I think there's a,
We'll determine the process and follow up with you.
all right, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've heard it all.
Why am I not moving? Here we go. Okay, so, let's see. Regarding speaking before the commission to facilitate public input, if you plan to speak on an item, please complete the yellow citizens input form that you'll find in the rear and leave it there to be brought forward for us. The public will be given opportunity to speak on any item before the city commission during a regular meeting. Before the consent agenda, I will check to see if anyone wants to speak to any item during public hearings. There is always an opportunity for the public to speak before a motion is made. During regular items, if you have not completed the yellow form but want to speak on an item, if you would raise your hand when we get to that item, you'll be recognized. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker on each item, except a person representing an organization and presenting its views during a quasi-judicial hearing. They will be allowed 5 minutes. Citizen participation takes place after public hearings, and individuals may address the commission on any topic not on the agenda. There's a 5-minute time limit for citizen comments. Okay, so that will bring us to the minutes of the June 22nd, 2026 regular meeting and work session.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on any item in the consent agenda? Okay, then I'll bring that to commission for action, consent A through M, unless somebody wants to pull something.
I want to pull item G, Mr. Mayor.
G,
Yes.
okay. So A through F and H through M. Is there a motion on those?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Item G, Commissioner Britt.
I have a couple of questions for Mr. Johnson. You're not on trial, just some clarification.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. Is this the same thing that we were talking about in 2025? Is this the same item that was coming from FDEP that said that we had to pay fines?
A lot of it is related to some of the things that in 2025, yes, ma'am.
Okay, but is this something new or something?
No, so it's a continuation of years past, along with a few new items that they found in 2025.
Okay, now when I was looking at the compliance evaluation, like I don't know if you're able to follow me, but like item A and B, it says like the respondent corrected a couple of these things.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I look at some other ones, it doesn't show that it's corrected. So like item E says the lining of the master lift station was failing at the time of the inspection. Has that been corrected?
No, ma'am. So if you look at it, I didn't pull it, I wasn't able to find it yet, but if you go down, there's a section that says ordered. And that's where the outstanding items are located. So if it doesn't have an update on the section that you looked at, it got carried over to the ordered section.
Okay, and we have plans to correct those?
Yes, well, some of the items that they mentioned, such as and I mentioned this in the presentation that I did earlier, the master lift station lining, in lieu of lining the lift station, we already are in the process of designing plans to do a complete rebuild on all of the headwork system.
Okay.
Because we could reline the lift station and it'll last for a little while, but it doesn't fix all of the other problems associated with it. So we'd rather take the time to do a full rehab versus just a minor repair.
Okay, and where, I guess I'll talk to you after the meeting, but I just want to know exactly where is that list of you saying the items that you still need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I'm looking, because the last time we talked about this, I was saying it was reported that it was 1 million gallons a day going into the St. Johns River. And you said, no, Commissioner, it's not. But I'm looking here on the consent order, and it does say that it was 1 million gallons per day.
For all of the illicit discharges, we got fined for that previously. We're not currently illicitly discharging.
Okay, we'll have further discussion. Well, Mr. Bonaparte will have further discussion about that. And then the direct payment for $181,000, is that the total amount of fines, or that's what we're just asking for today?
That is the total amount of the fines as they stand right now. So if you look under the generator item, for example, it's $1,000 a day fine. But as I mentioned in my presentation earlier, because we had gone back and forth with that particular vendor to repair the existing generator, and they failed to meet the deadlines. So the first time they ordered an aftermarket part, which they should have done the repair, and then they got to a point after losing 4 or 5 months, they then came back and said, well, we'll have to repair the barrel. They did that before delivering it to us. Before Memorial Day, they found out, they put it under load to test it, and it failed. So I sent an email out to them and said that we're incurring $1,000 a day fine from DEP, and we're not eating that. You guys are going to incur that. And so they're waiving the fees on the rental generator and the automatic transfer switches to offset the cost of that $1,000 a day fine that we're going to get from DEP. So what we're paying today is the total amount, but we will be getting another one more than likely for the generator. But that won't come from our budget. That will be from not paying the contractor for the rental generator that we currently have.
Approximately how much is that?
That's what we're getting from the contractor. We're paying about $40,000 a month to rent it. They're waiving the fees for the next, well, I think that came about a month ago. So for the next that month and then the next 2 months, so 3 months worth of waivers. And so that'll cover that $1,000 a day fine from DEP.
Okay, and who's taking Mr. Casella's place? Is that Mike Falcon?
Mike Falcon, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. That's it from me.
You're welcome.
And I think when Mr. Bonaparte's going to send out the PowerPoint from the work session, which lists all of the items that are underway with
Thank you, sir.
The Utilities Department, which I think will make it clear. Okay, so do we have a motion on G?
Move to approve item G.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, brings us to public hearings. First reading of ordinance 2026-4860.
An ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real properties, tax identification numbers 281930, 503, 400010, 1619, 305AC, 40096C, 161930, 5AC, 40086F, and 161930, 5AC, 40096D, which is generally addressed as 100 Crosswood Loop located contiguous to the city of Sanford, together with associated right-of-way, in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of Section 171.044 Florida statutes, redefining the boundaries of the city of Sanford to include said property, amending the boundaries of the city in accordance with the provisions of Section 166.031 Florida statutes, providing for findings, providing for conditions, directing the city clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of the Circuit Court, with the Chief Administrative Officer of Seminole County, and with the Department of State, providing for legal description and a map, and providing for incorporation of that exhibit, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Mayor and members of City Commission, city staff have reviewed the request for annexation and found the request to meet the criteria set forth in the Florida statutes. The property's boundaries are contiguous to the city's boundaries and are reasonably compact. It is therefore city staff recommendation, City Commission approve the first reading of ordinance number 4860 to annex 3.02 plus or minus acres located at East State Road 46 and Narcissus Avenue into the city of Sanford as legally described.
Okay. Ms. Sensen, are you doing a combined presentation?
I am.
Okay,
I
so.
tried to make them as short as possible, so I may miss things. We may have questions later, but I hear that I use a lot of words, so I'm going to go for less words.
Okay.
I think you need a mic.
I'm going to say, pull the mic. Yeah.
And just to clarify for the audience, there will be 3 votes on this item. The first is the annexation, the second is the future land use, and the third is the actual rezoning. Staff will do a presentation on all of those at one time, but we will treat it as 3 separate votes. Ms. Sensen.
Okay, so Royal Palm at Crosswood Loop, located at 100 Crosswood Loop, has 3 presentations before you, or 3 requests before you: an annexation, a comprehensive plan, and a PD rezone. So the annexation overview, it's located on the northeast side of State Road 46 and Monroe Road, just east of some existing development. There's 4 parcels totaling about 3 acres of a total 22-acre property. They are requesting annexation voluntarily under Florida statutes. It's contiguous, compact, does not create an enclave, and staff recommends approval of these additional parcels to be annexed. And there is a comprehensive plan amendment. The map is both in your packet and on the screen. The subject parcel is the same parcels looking to be annexed. There is a future land use of HIPD, which is High Intensity Plan Development Target Industry in Seminole County, and a future land use of Westside Industry and Commerce, which is what they're seeking in the city. They incorporate parcels into the future land use to totally incorporate into the 22-acre site. They're going to expand the PD to amend it for mixed-use development. The CAP was completed on August 18th of last year, and the comp plan amendment becomes effective only after the annexation ordinance and the comp plan amendment ordinance are adopted. And it has consistency with the comp plan, supports the WIC mixed-use pattern of both commercial and multifamily. It meets objectives for the future land use elements in 1.1. Public facilities have been found to be available and sufficient to support the request. The approval would assign the Westside Industry and Commerce future land use to enable the PD zoning and integration into the city's future land use map. It aligns with all the other future land use goals, orderly land use distribution, complies with 1.12.1, the Westside Industry Development Parameters. Staff recommends approval, and the Planning and Zoning Commission also recommended approval of the comprehensive plan amendment on June 4th, 2026. Now, the plan development. The overview is the overall site, not the few parcels that are being annexed and land used, but this is the overall total. It has 360 multifamily units, 6 buildings, 4 stories, max height of 70 feet, and 2 commercial outparcels with a maximum of 41,000 square feet. Net usable PV area is 19.91 acres for the calculation because there are 2.31 acres of wetlands. So what that basically does is it gives them a maximum intensity and density on the 19.91 because our calculations are based on buildable land. So They've provided for 360 multifamily units. They have utilized some transferring of development within the PD, so the commercial parcels are slightly less on their allocation, and the multifamily has a little bit heavier. The applicant is Eric Rausch, and the CAP, as noted, was completed on August 18th. In your packet is a very long list of development standards, some deviations, notes about the plan. It's probably easier to either read on the screen before you or your packet in front of you, but I put them on the screen so you could see what you're looking for in your plan. The PD master plan, this is a overall of what the PD proposes. You can see the multiple buildings, the large area of stormwater in the middle, and the out parcels on the front along State Road 46. The project information is 20 dwelling units per acre, 360 units as noted. The amenities include things like a clubhouse, fitness center, a pool, park, walking area, car care, EV charging. It also has, it says 3 out parcels, but oh, there are the 3, the third one. Okay, the 3 out parcels along 46, the max intensity of a total of 41,000 square feet and change, allowing uses within the GC2 with restrictions, which are noted in your staff report. And then just note that the stormwater element is a rather large element due to now nutrient loading requiring enlarged stormwater facilities, so that causes the project to be slightly more, the larger buildings, more compact, more units per building, which is one of the reasons why they have some of the deviations that they've asked for within our code. So the buffers and setbacks.
Wait, can I ask a quick question about that? Are those new stormwater standards that are requiring that?
I believe that there were even new ones, yes, just recently passed. They've been getting greater and greater, because even when we did the ones across the street from Sunrail, they had increased ones at that time, and now even more stringent loading requirements are being imposed. So we have had to make modifications on some of our designs just to make sure that we meet all of those stormwater requirements as we go through the process.
So in general, the state requirements
The St.
for
John's River water
stormwater
management.
treatment are increasing as time goes by?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we've been trying to use them as amenities, trying to make sure they have fountains, paths around them, trails, dog walks, whatever it is that we can do to make those more amenitized and not just square ponds.
Thank you.
So, but as you'll see, it's in the master plan, it's got a nice, not square shape. It's got, you know, sort of goes in between the buildings and whatnot. So there's, I guess, stormwater behind it is the pond up at the top. So the single family adjacent, the buffer was modified from 120 down to 47 feet, and then a 50-foot buffer was down to 10 feet. But there were there's 2 residences, and there appears to be no objection on that. And then internal commercial residential buffers have been removed between the owned project. So there's no real buffers between the commercial that's on 46 and the project itself, but that's internal to the same PD, so there's no objection there. The open space required is 50%, but they're providing 30%. The parking stalls are supposed to be 10 by 20, but standards have basically been 9 by 18 in more recent approvals. The ratio is 2.0 to 1.8, which is consistent with a lot of our recent approvals, actually slightly higher. We've ranged anywhere from 1.5 to 1.8, so this is on the higher end of the reduction for the parking and multifamily. The landscape islands went from 400 square feet to 250 square feet. The architecture, they don't have a second-story setback. There is a 4-story height of 70 feet allowed, which is consistent with some of our more recent developments. The interior open-air corridors, as they have similarly in their most recent development, which is North Haven, which you guys may be familiar with at this point. And then the mechanical screening, the landscaping, units per building. Our code says 8. These buildings are going to have 60. And then the garage or carport coverage is at 20% versus the 50% that our code requires, but that's also generally consistent. We've been getting 20 to 30% of covered parking areas within our development.
Eileen, before you move on, you're saying that there's no objections. No objections from who? Staff?
The 2 residences, as far as we know, the 2 residences have no objections.
They stated that? at the CAP meeting? Did they put that in writing?
They invited about 75 people at the CAP meeting and only one person showed up. One.
That doesn't mean that they don't object. Did did we get something in writing that says that they don't object? Or just because they didn't show up, that means that they don't object?
Well, we have not heard any objections. I do
Okay.
not know that there are no objections, but we have not heard any objections.
Okay, let's clarify that. Okay, all right, thank you.
So staff analysis, as noted before, the future land use consistency, mixed-use, high-density residential, commercial frontage, supports employment centers along State Road 46, enhanced landscaping along the western single-family boundary. Even though the buffers and setbacks have been reduced, we're enhancing the landscaping to ensure coverage. The type 2 hedge plus the fencing along the northern residential boundary. The conditions in your staff report, there are a number of them, so I'm not going through all of them. There are 21. There are a couple that everything from our normal 3 years extension, the GCC uses with restrictions and some prohibitions, the decorative fountain as normal, cross-access between the parcels. They will be providing EV charging. Landscape along the county ditch requires some timing to get that in. And then the last two, the Planning and Zoning Commission had placed a condition upon, after their public hearing upon the project, they wanted to state that, if possible, work with staff to the best of the applicant's ability to determine the feasibility of a potential secondary access to Narcissus Avenue at some point in the future after design and or Narcissus being brought up to code. They don't necessarily want anyone driving onto Narcissus in its current state, but they wanted to leave the door open and put the condition in there. There's nothing concrete about the statement other than the applicant can work with staff to try to make that a possibility in the future. I believe the applicant is going to ask to have that not incorporated, but that's in their presentation. And then there's a shared parking statement in your packet about the commercial and the residential. They were going to do some creative shared parking between, and there's a statement in there that they want removed as well, but staff would prefer not to remove the statement and just make it so that it is, I have noted the words, it was only as needed, only if needed. So during the engineering and design process, the condition is determined to be required and as the subdivision plans are approved. So as for the feasibility of Narcissus, there's not really a harm in leaving the statement in there as long as it's just an open statement. And as for the shared parking covenant, we feel like taking it out may damage it in the future if we do run into a problem that it's not in the packet that requires it. So if we can add a statement just stating that it's not required unless needed. And then staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions within your staff report.
According to what I saw, it was not unanimous. There was one planning and zoning member who did not recommend approving it. Commissioner Campagna.
Nikki, yes, she did. She did. I believe it was based on a consistency.
It's based on future land use 1.1, 1.1.5, and.
Yeah, that was on the future land use amendment.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That was on the future land use amendment, which we have to do that one. So I'm not really sure. Like, that's what it comes in as from county to city. So it was, but we did note it.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, the applicant does have a presentation.
Okay, go back to
Take too long.
what you said about shared parking.
Okay, so if you look at your master plan, there is this section in the front where the out parcels are, and then there's the row that sits between that and the building of apartments. There was going to be some creative shared parking, and it's in your staff report how it's worded. The minimum maintaining of 1.8 spaces, and then there would be a covenant prior to plat recording for that shared parking agreement in a legal form acceptable to the city attorney, I think is what it said. So I think it's 16
It is 16.
Yeah, 16. So the Planning and Zoning Commission, there was one set of wording. It went through the public hearing, and then there was some additional wording. So the conditions stated that the city administrative official could do up to 50% with the parking study, and then a binding covenant in a form approved by the city attorney for shared parking between the commercial and the residential parcels of the PD shall be recorded with or prior to final plat. So I believe they're going to ask to have that removed, and I'll let them do their presentation and explain. But if we want to add just a statement that says, if determined to be required, or something along those lines, I'm not sure the harm in keeping it there.
So your intent is that there's some documented agreement that is shared parking between the residential and the commercial?
Only
Is
if the
that-
parking counts don't work out
Okay,
when they do the final engineering. If
Okay.
they can make it work, that's great, but I don't want to put any restrictions on the plan that keep it from working.
okay.
So if we remove it and then we don't have this agreement, I don't want to end up back before the commission to determine how to deal with the agreement.
Okay.
Eileen, I got a question for you, a couple actually, because, well, there's a lot of deviations in here, but I'm gonna try to stick to annexation, because that's what we're gonna be talking about first. But my question is here, I'm seeing a lot of verbiage, you know, it talks about the city gaining the tax revenue and all of that, but I'm concerned about what this high intensity does for the future of Sanford in our water and the water demand, the sewer capacity. If I'm only looking at this right here, help me, just the annexation, because, well, let's rewind it. What's the purpose of annexing from the county to the city? Break that down for me, even though I know.
Okay, well, it is within our city service area, so we will provide services to the property, both water and sewer. We have a resolution on file that says any property obtaining water and sewer from the city will annex into the city.
Okay. Now, are we prepared for that, though, with this being high intensity? And I'm trying not to bring up how many homes and all of that, because we're only talking about annexation.
Right.
But this much, are we prepared for that with the water demand and sewer demand? Do we have
Well,
the capacity for that?
At the annexation level, non-used, like no committed anything, at the annexation only, we have the ability to annex this. We have services available, it's not creating an enclave, and it meets the statute requirements.
Okay.
So solely looking at the annexation, we have the ability, it's within our planning area to do so, and we meet state statutes to do so.
We meet state statutes. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that, but I just
Okay.
wanted it on record, though. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for staff at this point? Okay, does the applicant want to do their presentation now? Okay. But before you get started, I was just thinking that, I should have sworn Eileen first because she did the annexation, the PD part, right? Okay, so I'm gonna have to back up. Eileen, you're gonna have to give your whole presentation again.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Talk fast.
No, he's.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
No.
Right?
Right?
You're gonna make her cry.
I went as quick
We're
as
gonna
I
swear you in
humanly could.
pro nunc tunc.
No,
Oh, he's using Latin terms there.
Okay, and so this will apply to the PD rezoning of this item, but it will also apply to the North Park PD. Okay? So when an agenda item involves a quasi-judicial process, commissioners must disclose all ex parte communications, including the name and communicator and the time, place, and substance of the communication. Written communications, commissioners' investigations, site visits, and receipt of expert opinions must also be disclosed and made a part of the record. Persons who have opinions contrary to those expressed in an ex parte communication may refute or respond to the communication at the hearing when they make their presentation. In quasi-judicial process, parties to the proceedings are generally the city and the applicant. Others who have legal standing to appeal the decision can also request to be recognized as a party. Parties are subject to cross-examination and must give their testimony under oath. Persons do not have to be a party to the proceedings to be recognized and provide comments. Members of the public who wish to make comments are not required to become parties and are not subject to cross-examination and are not sworn in as evidentiary witnesses. Comments of the public that provide facts relevant to the application will be considered in the decision. Qualifications of city staff are part of the agenda materials. All testimony and evidence provided to the City Commission must be competent, material, and substantial under Florida law. A guide to quasi-judicial proceedings has been published on the city's website, and copies are available at the rear of the chambers. So if anyone who is going to speak as a party on the annexation for this item or the North Park PD, if you would please stand. What?
The PD for this one, not the
Right, the PD for this and the North Park PD. Those are the two items. Okay, and if you would raise your right hand and state your name as we'll go across the room this way.
Eileen Hinson?
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give in the matters now at hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, thank you.
Testimony that she provided thus far was given truthfully.
Okay, Eileen, does that apply to the testimony you already provided?
It does.
Thank you. All right. Sorry about that.
Right. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Good evening. My name is Eric Roche with Inspire Placemaking, here to cover item number 7, which Ms. Henson did a really good job framing the item, so I'll likely hit the high points and add some color commentary, but not get into the details on everything that she already covered. So I'll run through the applicant team, the context for the request, the 3 requests that were already outlined on the staff presentation, speak to our renderings and show some images of what we're proposing, talk about the project impacts, and then I'll wrap up with a quick summary. So the applicant here is Royal Palm Companies. You know, you may be familiar with them. They're the developer of the North Haven project immediately to the south of this property. It was founded in 1978, and they've been active for over 40 years. They've developed over 10,000 units of high-end commercial hospitality, exceeding over $5 billion in value. So there's a proven track record. You know, all of us are on the applicant team that was here before you a year or so ago on North Haven. Same engineer, same developer, same attorney. And we made a lot of promises, and we're here, and hopefully you feel like we kept those promises with the product that's out there today. Here's some images of North Haven if you haven't been out there. Really top-class multifamily product with state-of-the-art fitness center, clubhouse, EV charging stations, resort-style pool, and those types of amenities. Finishes in the units are very nice as well.
Question.
Can I say something real quick? Since you're talking about North Haven, it is the finest project completed I've seen in my 10 years on this commission. And I applaud you and your team. And I did hear early on about this project in the infancy stages. I haven't spoken with them lately, but North Haven is I beg my wife all the time, can we just move there? It is fantastic.
Thank you very much for saying that. And I'm sure the team really enjoys hearing that feedback as well.
Technical question. When I have seen it spelled, there was 2 H's.
Are there 2 H's?
Yeah.
That's on me.
Misspelled.
So that's on me. So there's 2
Kind of
H's.
like our thing earlier, Gage was spelled wrong. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was. That'll be corrected before the second reading. So I appreciate all that feedback. You know, our thought process on this one is it needs to be at that level or better for this current project. So as Eileen mentioned, 22.22 acres in size. It's an aggregation of a couple different parcels. We do have a little bit of wetlands on the site, and we've got the existing WIC flu in the city and the HIPD flu in the county. So those are the more intense land use classifications. We've got PD zoning in the city today. There was a previous approval for this site back in 2018 called the Seminole Business Park. So this is the kind of centerpiece of our property. There's currently approved 104,500 square feet of warehousing. And it's got a 10-foot setback from that residential on the western property line. We feel like our project's an improvement from that approval. So overall, as mentioned, we're looking for 360 multifamily units and 41,600 square feet of commercial. The three applications required to meet that goal are the annexation, the small-scale amendment, and then the rezoning for the PUD. Straightforward annexation, 3.02 acres were contiguous to the city to the east, and we're proposing to bring that into the city. The future land use map designation, I know it was just brought up about what you can potentially do within the county. This is a high-intensity plan development targeted industry designation today. So it allows for up to 50 dwelling units per acre and a 1.5 FAR. So we're proposing far less than that. So by right in the county, this could be developed at a higher intensity than what we're otherwise proposing under our application.
I don't like when they say that.
We're proposing the 20 dwelling units and a 0.5 FAR consistent with the city's WIC standards. And we likely won't even hit the 0.5 FAR, but this would be considered a reduction from the intensity permitted within the county. This is just the map. As you can see, the WIC is the designation that's most comparable and immediately in this vicinity within the city. The staff report had a really good section on all the compatibility and consistency with the comp plan policies. We've highlighted a few of those. We do agree with staff's recommendation. This is consistent with the comp plan and compatible with the surrounding area. The existing zoning, as I mentioned, you have that PD kind of running through the middle of the site. The eastern portion of the site got an ag zoning. And then there's an R1A property. That's the property that we're annexing into the city. And proposed it would all just be under one new PD. This is our site plan, and I can step you through it a little bit. We do have access points on State Road 46, 2 proposed access points on 46, and then we've got cross access to the multifamily, to the commercial properties to the west. It's a long list of community highlights and apartment highlights. If you've been to North Haven, you've seen a lot of this stuff. So I won't talk through all of the proposed amenities, but as I mentioned, it'll be as nice, if not nicer, than what we did in North Haven. These are the clubhouse renderings and the multifamily renderings, generally consistent with, with a few tweaks with what occurred at North Haven. This is the overall, the site plan in color. So you can see you kind of enter onto a boulevard condition off of 46, and we are making some off-site improvements in terms of a right turn lane in, and then we're extending a left turn lane from Uppsala all the way to the entrance of this property. We've got the commercial out parcels on the frontage. We've got shared parking, as mentioned, kind of nearest the residential buildings to the north. And the idea here is that if you're living in these apartments, you can walk to the whatever, if there's a quick service restaurant or something like that, you can walk and not have to drive to access those out parcels. We've got the pool and clubhouse kind of centrally located, and then an amenitized pond in the back. It was mentioned about the stormwater requirements. They're significant. So you'll notice there's a pond on the north, there's a pond in the center, and then we've even got a smaller pond on one of the out parcels to the west. So we're trying to really keep all of those ponds amenitized and helping the built environment rather than just being square utilitarian ponds.
Wait, go back. What's at the Narcissus end of the big pond that's sort of squared off there?
Talking about like right here. These are garages. These areas. This is dog park.
Yeah. What's this?
Oh, I have a slide that shows the detail of that, but that's a part of the amenity.
Okay.
Yep. But here's the thought process: is you really enter on more of a boulevard condition. So the multifamily will be in the back with a terminated vista of a clubhouse, and then you'll have, the out parcels with pedestrian accommodations from State Road 46 and the multifamily, so it all works together. Here's just a zoomed out version of that perspective drawing, really trying to make a statement with the entrance and the landscaping as you arrive into the central clubhouse and leasing office of the multifamily. This is the detail I think you were referring to, Mayor. These are the paddle courts and shade structure for additional amenities, pickleball and those types of things. So playground, yeah, for the kids. And then this is a detail of the pool. You can see, comparable to what occurred at North Haven, resort-style pool with different types of amenities around the pool, cabanas and such. So these are some images just representative of the clubhouse, fitness center, pool house. As mentioned in the report, we do have capacity for sewer, potable water, reclaim, solid waste, transportation, and public schools. There was no objections to capacity to being able to serve this project.
Now.
And so we agree with the staff recommendation on all three applications. We did have one tweak to condition number 20, which would be to remove it. We talked a little bit about the shared parking. I think we're okay with the language as proposed. The if needed at the end of that goes a long way for us. So we would be amenable to that change. But we did get this condition to discuss evaluating the feasibility to connect to Narcissus, and we did that. Early in our project, our first submittal actually showed a connection to Narcissus. We were excited to do it. Until we got into the engineering and the due diligence with respect to that. So there's some pretty low overhead power lines in that area. There's an existing ditch. There's a shallow gas main. I think that's what's most concerning there. It's at about 2.8 feet underground. You're required to have 4 foot of cover on a gas main, which is really why we didn't want to propose relocating that or directing vehicular traffic over it. We likely need to reconstruct the road. Also, our study showed that there's some localized flooding on Narcissus, and we didn't want to direct traffic onto a road that has flooding concerns. And then the final one, it was going to be resident only. We were concerned with access in terms of trucks not having access to the gate and then having to back into Narcissus being an unsafe condition. So our alternative was to provide really this cross access. As this property potentially comes in for redevelopment to the west, we'd have the opportunity to kind of make this connection and keep going over to Monroe. And we've got the two existing access points that we're proposing here, so there will be some opportunity to come out of the multifamily. You've got multifamily gates in this location, so there's some permeability as it pertains to getting emergency services in and out, because there will be multiple ways using the boulevard, as well as the multiple access points that we're proposing. I mentioned the off-site improvements. We are proposing a right turn lane and a left turn lane on 46. We're fixing that merge condition and exceeding the FDOT requirements. And this kind of proposal really allows us to continue a frontage road that would ultimately serve many other parcels as we get closer to the intersection.
Is there cross-access between the two parcels in front of the apartments and the third parcel?
Yes, there will be a shared drive here that'll run to the north, so this will ultimately
but to the third parcel?
Yes, it'll go through here,
okay.
And it'll cross this ditch, and then we would like to stub it here, so when this property comes in, it would continue on and serve 4 or 5 parcels and potentially get you all the way over to the next road. So with that concludes my presentation. We would just ask to remove condition number 20, and we're acceptable to the language on the parking. And I'm here for any questions. We also have our full team here, and want to close by just thanking staff for working with us through this process. It's been great. Thank you.
Questions?
I got questions, but I don't know legally if it's allowed for us to ask those right now, Attorney Green, because we're just talking about annexation.
Yeah. Should we just vote on annexation and move on?
I would agree. Let's start with the vote on annexation. If you have questions about annexation, then let's do that at this point.
So at this point, we'll limit conversation just to the annexation.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, this is a public hearing. Is anyone from the audience wish to speak about the annexation? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, bring it to commission for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. So that'll be first reading, brings us to first reading of 4861.
An ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida, amending the City of Sanford Comprehensive Plan as previously amended, providing for amendment of the future land use element of the City of Sanford Comprehensive Plan relative to certain real property of approximately 2.65 acres from high-intensity planned development target industry to West Side Industry and Commerce, and assign tax identification parcel number 2819305030000010, which is generally addressed as 100 Crosswood Loop within city limits, said property being more specifically described in this ordinance, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for assignment of the land use designation for the property, providing for the adoption of maps by reference, providing for severability, providing for ratification of prior acts of the city, providing for conflicts, providing for codification, and directions to the code codifier, and providing for the implementation of the statutory expedited state review process and an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, on June the 4th of 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission voted on a vote of 4-1 to recommend that the City Commission approve the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to amend the future land use from high industrial plan development target industry to West Side Industry and Commerce. It is therefore staff's recommendation City Commission approve ordinance number 4861 on first reading.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Does staff have anything else to add? The applicant have anything else to add? Okay, this is public hearing. Anyone on the audience wish to speak on the change in future land use? So we'll now close the public hearing, bring it to commission for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just like to note that, like, I can't deny it legally, but it seems like we're asking for a lot of maximum density while asking for a lot of reductions, a lot of deductions. So I'm really concerned about that.
Any questions, other questions or comments?
Yes. There's a section in here that talks about the amendment. It will meet all the performance standards with the exception that the wetlands on the subject property are not intended to be preserved. As part of the PD rezone application, staff will be recommending a condition. I just want you to help me understand this. Recommending a condition to the PD rezone to allow staff to change the designation of any non-impacted wetlands on the site to resource protection at the end of site development. So,
Okay, so the City of Sanford has a land use designation specifically known as resource protection. Wetlands that are in the city and have been in the city for some time, when we did our future land use map, got a designation of resource protection. Some of the other ones, as we've reallocated resource protection, when sites have developed, we've moved lines, we've shifted, redeveloped certain wetlands, closed in others, we've adjusted our resource protection. The county just has an overlay identifying where those types of things are. They do not have a land use category that's called resource protection. So when we annex them and we land use amend them, they go from county to city. County as HIPT, comes in as West Side Industry and Commerce, does not come in as resource protection. So at the end of this project, although the applicant is utilizing their right to mitigate the wetlands through other means, not through the city, through other organizations, St. John's, FDEP, whatever it is that the wetlands get mitigated through, they, if there are any left on site, we reserve the right to make them resource protection when the project is done. That's what that statement is saying.
okay, so we don't necessarily know right now.
Well, they have no intention of keeping any of them, but Correct. We don't know.
So what does it matter? They're not going to keep it anyway.
Right, but we would like to reserve the right in the event of all the development, if they can't get it mitigated through whatever means they're accorded the right to do that, then if it remains wetlands, we want to make it resource protection for our future land use layer, to identify it as such.
And just, I don't know, maybe a side question, but how many times are we mitigating these wetlands and ending up with none?
A lot, but it's outside of our control. But we do utilize, as you noted in the beginning, we do not allow them, those wetlands, as toward their density and intensity calculations. So if you have a 10-acre site and 80% of it is wetlands, you only get to use 20% to calculate your maximum use. So it
Well, that
does,
makes sense.
right, it does deter from overutilizing sites that are predominantly wetlands. When they're sites with small amount of wetlands, the cost effectiveness of developing them may not be as detrimental as a site that might be 80 or 90% wetlands.
Okay.
So we do not allow, we do a pre-development calculation. So if you have wetlands on site, those wetlands don't get to count for developable. So that's our comp plan goal, to keep intensity down and to encourage not to close in those wetlands, but they can still exercise that right.
Okay. Did we have any wetlands in North Haven before that was developed?
I don't believe so, because it was a lot of farmland, and then there was the treed areas that were on the west side.
On the west side, yeah. Okay, and it looks like they have just made the barely 4 of the 8 amendment criteria.
Can I ask a wetland question before you move on?
Go right
Are
ahead.
the wetlands are basically on lots, commercial lots 2 and 3? Is that where they are?
Yeah, that's southwest, I think.
I mean, are they, is all of it up there, up front along 46?
It's gonna, yeah.
Okay.
They're on that side.
All right. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Thomas.
Okay, I think those are the only questions I have on this particular item, although this was the item where the one commissioner did not vote for it.
Right, we had one planning and zoning commissioner
Yeah.
vote
And-
down this, but there really is no other alternative. We have to assign it a land use category, and this is what corresponds with the county's land use category.
Okay, thank you, Eileen.
And I believe in our comp plan, it actually says everything along State Road 46 west of Airport Boulevard goes to West Side Industry and Commerce. If it's like,
Yeah.
it's like north of 46A, south of the riverfront, and then west of, and it up until where it hits the mall, which is high intensity.
Right.
So there's a whole big block in the middle that has to be West Side Industry and Commerce.
Yeah.
It's not really an option.
That makes sense. Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Did I close the public hearing?
I think you did.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you
Yeah,
open
you
for
did.
discussion.
So motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So was that a?
No, I don't oppose. I can't.
It's a pain.
It was unanimous. Okay. All right, so that's first reading of ordinance 4862.
An ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida, providing for the PD rezoning of a parcel of real property totaling 22.22 acres in size, located at 100 Crosswood Loop, and assigned tax parcel identification numbers 281930, 503400010, 161930, 5AC 400960, 161930, 5AC 40096A, 161935 AC 40096E, 161935 AC 40087, 161935 AC 40087, 161935 AC 40086 by the Seminole County Property Appraiser, which property is located within the Sanford city limits, to establish the Royal Palm at Crosswood Loop PD, providing for findings and intent, providing for the taking of implementing administrative actions, providing for the adoption of a map by reference, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the correction of Scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date and potential reversion.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, on June the 4th of 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously voted that the City Commission adopt ordinance number 4862 regarding the 2.65 acre property from Seminole County R1A, single family, to City of Sanford AG, and revise the 10 acre Seminole Business Center to PD property to establish the Royal Palm at Crosswood PD.
Okay, this is quasi-judicial. I did meet with the applicant several months ago when I toured North Haven, and they, in generality, described their plans for this property. Anyone else have anything to declare?
So did I.
I have none.
All right.
Don, I'm just, should we correct for the record that there was one, it was not a unanimous approval on the zoning?
It's corrected as part of the testimony on the record once you pointed it out,
Okay, okay,
and it should duly be reflected in the minutes.
thank you.
Was it
Okay.
the zoning or the future land use?
That was the future land use where there
Okay.
was the one board
Okay.
member.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Does staff have anything else? Does the applicant have anything else? This is a public hearing. Anyone in the audience wish to speak to the rezoning? Okay, see no one, I'll close the public hearing, bring it to commission for discussion or action.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Britton, discussion?
Got discussion. And then I'm also looking for clarification from Attorney Green, because I always get slapped on the wrist about talking about things when we're talking about zoning and so on and so forth. But am I allowed to discuss the deviations here when we're talking about the rezoning? Okay, so.
All 16 of them.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm concerned because from my notes, and you know I take a lot of them, I'm looking at the landscape buffer, building setback, open space, parking dimensions, parking count, architecture, parking buffer, mechanical screening, the car wash requirement, the units per building, unit access, building height, garage. It's a lot of deviations which we don't allow for other, I mean, we get close to it, but I haven't seen it, and since I've been here, this many deviations. And it feels like we're redesigning our code to fit this project, and I'm already concerned about what's happening on 46. I don't want to overstep Commissioner Wiggins, being that it's District 2, but still, it's like, okay, we opened up the floodgates, and now we're building. We're talking about, you know, having enough emergency services, police, fire, and that's why I interjected it. I'm saying we have enough capacity now, but if we keep building the way that we're building and loading so much, 320 units with approximately 2 people at a minimum in one unit, that's a lot in that small parcel there. And I'm really concerned about it. And to me, it seems like at what point are we saying all of these multiple deviations in this proposed site? Does it make sense for it to happen like that? And I'm sorry, I don't want to overload you, Eileen, but I didn't like that we said that there was no objections from the adjacent properties. They just may not have shown up to a meeting, but there was nothing that was in writing to say that we're okay with having this high intensity next to us, and now we're decreasing all of the buffers and setbacks and so on and so forth. That's my concern regarding this matter. That this is a lot of deviations from our code. I know it was a lot. I'm just concerned. I'm not really.
I just don't want to start talking until you're done.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, the majority of the majority of the deviations are consistent with what we've been doing as it relates to our current multifamily code.
Can we, like, all right, let's go back through it, because I'm seeing big deviations, not like, 2 feet, 10 feet. We're going from like 100 to 50 and different things like that. Those are big changes. It's not like, okay, we are trying to fit this, we want to make sure that we have enough open space. These are large deviations.
The deviation on the west side by the single family is a significant deviation, and the applicant can speak to that if you want to ask them specifics about it. But as it relates to the open space, that's deviation 2. That's generally consistent with what we've done with others. The parking count at 1.8, or actually the parking space dimension is consistent. We've been continually reducing that down to 9 by 18 for apartment spaces. And then the, what?
And Target.
And Target. And some, yeah, Target's got some very unique reductions. The deviation 4, where we have a 1.8 parking space, is 2 per unit per our code. However, we've gone down as little as 1.5 on standardized market rate, and then we've gone even lower on one project for an adult 50-plus income restricted one. So the architectural, there's always been some sort of modifications to make each individual project work, whether it be a height or it be a step back requirement. In this case, it's 4 stories. It's what's the going, height on the apartments. This one's a little bit taller only because it has more architectural features. It's still only a 4-story apartment. The parking buffer, this is the multifamily parking buffer. They're providing 0 feet of buffer to the proposed residential buildings in lieu of the required 30 feet.
0 from 30.
It's designed to provide convenient travel, distance spread. This one's a little different than normal. The mechanical equipment, they're just ground floor mechanical equipment. They're going to be screening it by landscaping. The what's the next one? The requesting the dwelling units to have individual unit numbers instead of individual street addresses.
That's
so
fine.
that's just something
fine.
that we
But
have
I'm
in our
just
right.
listing all of them.
Right, no, and that's fine. The comment, I'm just walking through them with you.
Okay.
It's often that we do leave out the car wash, and a lot of it has to do with, one, there are enough car washes in the immediate vicinity for outside use, as well as it does less impact on us for water, the oil water separators and utility concerns, because if you put a car wash drain, it has to separate stormwater from stormwater from sewer water, and those systems have to be, so when you remove that element, it's an amenity loss to the individuals, but at the same time, there are nearby car washes. So, and it's not something that we haven't deviated before. The units allowed per building, our current design code is only 8 units per building, and those are the big house style apartment units. 8 to 12 is that type of building type, which is like Arbor Lakes Apartments and Lakes Edge Apartments, which are really big houses. They have garages. They look sort of like McMansions, but that's not the current building style for apartments. Are the self-contained ones with courtyards in the middle and multifamily buildings that wrap around those. They're taller, they're more dense. That's
To the tune of 60.
60. And that's not the highest either. We've had some as, 80, 90 in a building, and then some as low as, 32 or 40. Garden style is usually between 32 and 36.
And you're justifying this one, staff is justifying this one by saying, well, if we don't allow this, it would limit the ability to create a compact development with commercial out parcels. In other words, we won't let them do what they want to do.
It wouldn't, no, it wouldn't comply with Westside Industry and Commerce Future Land Use. It's required to be dense, it's required to be higher intensity, and it's required to have more units. They have to have a minimum of 10 dwelling units per acre. At
Okay.
8 per building, you can't.
But to go from 8 to 60?
Well, right, but like I said, that's along that model where it's one interior entrance into the building, you have one elevator. They're not garden style, each one doesn't have their own staircase leading to the outside.
Wait, did I miss something? You said, what now? From 8 to what?
It's 60 units per building,
Wait,
and there's 6 buildings.
What? Why have we never rewritten our apartment code from way back when we did this? Because I don't think there is ever,
Anyone who meets them all?
I don't think we've ever had an apartment complex developed under our current apartment code.
Add that to your list of changes.
Well, part of
I mean,
it's
is there a
that, part of
reason?
it
'Cause, I
does,
mean, this has been going on for years. Is there a reason we haven't done it?
there are some elements that by keeping it, it protects us from, in the state realm of current changes.
Senate Bill 180?
No.
Yeah, this is not on.
Things like live local, which
Oh.
is allowing us to put things in places they may or may not be compatible, but they still have to meet our zoning requirements.
Okay.
So our zoning requirements are these, and if it can't be met, it still is required to go through that public hearing process, which gives us some ability to assist in designing something that is community compatible.
Okay.
That's one of many reasons, some of which is we're not really sure how to redesign them because apartments are continually changing. We went from the big house to the garden style to the single buildings like Georgetown Square, back down to the multi-buildings at 60 units each, and their, courtyard in the middle. It's constantly changing. So it's a challenge to figure out how to write a multifamily code that meets the ever-changing market of multifamily.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right, the unit access points, they did successfully at North Haven, and that was what I was talking about. They don't have their own walk-ups, they don't have their own entries to the street. They go in one main building entry, so that's a variation, but it is a good design element. It protects the residents inside. They don't have all the multitude of 8,000 stairwells outside. It's just a different design characteristic.
It's packing a lot of people in there.
And then the building height, like I said, it's 5-story. It's 4-story. It's consistent with other things. The detached garages and units, we've gone everywhere from eliminating them completely to like at the view down the way to 20 or 30%, which is about average. It's actually a little bit higher than average. So that's not anything that's a request that's out of the norm. The parking lot landscaping, we as staff would always prefer to see more landscaping, but things that we've brought to the commission in the past, you've been amenable to relieving landscaping requirements in parking lots. So we are working with applicants on that.
Yeah, you are asking for some clarification on this one.
You are, we,
Staff is. Clarification on the deviation explanation and provided landscape plan is being requested by staff. But
Right.
would not be supportive of 1 tree per double row.
right, we are requesting 2 canopies per versus the 1.
What does our code say that we have to have?
I'm sorry?
What does the code say that we have to have? What does our code say? Because you're
Well,
saying,
it's all, it's they're, okay, so they're requesting, we can read through it, but basically, the parking space requirement is essentially 2 parking space requirements, making it 400 square feet.
Yes, ma'am.
2 10 by 20 spaces. They're seeking to drop that down to 250 square feet. In that 400 square feet, there's a set amount of required plantings. Obviously, with 250 square feet, it's difficult to meet the 400 square foot required plantings. We are amenable to reducing the landscape island area, but still want to keep the landscaping requirement within.
okay.
So,
And you're supporting the 15 in lieu of 25 feet landscape buffer on 46, adjacent to 46.
Are we on the, you're not talking about the buffer and setback yet, are you?
Oh, yeah, I was on moving
Okay.
deviation 15.
All right,
Well, can we go back to 14?
okay.
So what is it that we're requiring in the PD? The 1 tree or the 2 trees?
okay, hold on.
Staff would not be supportive of 1 tree per double row parking area at 250 square feet, as the deviation explanation seems to read.
Right. We want the trees that would be required in 400, even though they're only doing 250.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
So is that what's in the
Let's
approval?
see what our,
And we'd have to put that in there as a condition, right?
Well, I don't know what's, unless they already have it in as a condition. I don't remember seeing it.
It's not.
It's not what's proposed in any of the conditions that I can see, so if you want to add it as a condition, I think we just wrote it in the staff report to say this is what we would prefer to support.
Mhm.
So, and obviously the applicant's going to request opportunity to discuss any final conditions and
Right,
they have to
sure.
agree to the negotiations, so I
See
would
if it's doable.
definitely just make sure that what we're requiring of them, obviously staff pushes for more landscaping, but as I've noted in the past, there's been some flexibility by means of the commission to reduce that landscaping, so it's going to be a commission action to make sure that that condition meets what the commission wants to see.
Okay.
The landscape buffer on 46, the 15 feet is not something that we haven't done before. The masonry wall, they're requesting the deviation to remove the required 4-foot masonry wall around the property. I mean, a 4-foot masonry wall, we've eliminated it on a number of projects. It's site contextual depending on where it works and where it doesn't. I don't know that it's necessary to wrap this entire project with a 4-foot
Yeah.
wall.
But you have,
No.
again, here asked for further clarification.
Well, they've got some other existing chain link fence, a 6-foot aluminum picket fence, as other components. So staff says they support the request to remove the 4-foot masonry wall, but we request further clarification if the multifamily project intends to gate the western property line, or if only landscaping is proposed along the western property line, the development is adjacent to a multifamily project with an existing chain link fence. 6-foot aluminum fence is proposed along the northern property line, also includes a stormwater pond for additional setbacks from the road. As identified by the applicant proposes landscaping along the western property line adjacent to a 10-foot width Seminole County ditch, limits the amount of space available to construct a structurally safe wall. So if there's anything outside of what's on the master plan that the commission wants to see, this was where we needed clarification. So the commission can make alternate recommendations depending on where your desire to see design standards for the project. But otherwise, what's on the master plan is what would proceed unless other modifications are made today or by second reading.
How do you feel about that one, Mayor?
Confused. I was trying to picture the walls in all the different places.
Yeah.
A wall in what?
All the different walls and fences in the different places. I was trying to run through those.
Well,
in
the
my
ditch
head.
And it's
does
hard.
The
There's-
4-foot masonry
make
wall.
it have an issue there.
Doesn't,
And why? I don't even know why
that's in our code. I don't know.
What's
It's
the
in our
point
code.
of that?
I think
was
when
trying to
it's
picture it
along
in
the
my head.
roads,
Somebody
right,
falls
along
in
the
the ditch?
road frontages and stuff, it sort of creates a visual break
Yeah.
for a 4-story building. You've got a sort of a setback to design. But in this situation, because they're going to have the road, they're going to have shorter commercial buildings, and then behind it, they're going to have the taller multifamily. That's where that would really
Okay.
come in as a
So
component.
there's no wall across, there's nothing except landscaping along 46. Is that correct?
Right,
Okay.
should be, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
unless something's designed at the time when the commercial outparcels come in, but there's no need for a wall along 46 for commercial outparcels.
And then where there's an existing chain link fence between this property and the one to the west?
West.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there?
Hold on, I'm pulling up a plan. Unless you
This is
bring
where
up the
having
plan.
paper is easier than
It is.
flipping.
Not if you open multiple windows.
So let me do that from here?
Yeah.
That's the big
You
canal.
can take any tab and drag it
So
and move
it
it to a
just stays
separate
right
window
here
and
now.
look at
No,
them
I want to
side
open
by
up,
side.
but it'd be nice if I could do a page to it.
So they're looking to put up a 6-foot vinyl fence along that ditch, but a wall won't go there because of the stability.
Right,
So
that makes
the
sense.
chain link fence goes away, they get a vinyl fence. That's what they're proposing. So that
On the on the,
West
they're
side.
shaking their head
The
no.
applicant is shaking their head, so.
Okay, let them describe the fencing. How about
Okay.
that?
There will be something between that and the ditch.
Close the public hearing. Can I bring them back up? Can I?
There, it's gonna be necessary for
Okay,
clarification.
so we're gonna reopen the public hearing. Can we put the map up and have the applicant come up and just describe the walls and fencings and landscaping around the perimeter of the property, please?
So the last two are the masonry wall and the two masonry walls, the 4-foot one and the 6-foot one. So the applicant can clarify all the fencing for you. That would,
You went too far.
And I've got a hidden slide that
Oh.
addresses the
You have a hidden
condition
slide?
of the ditch.
You're keeping something from us?
I have those too. At the end of the presentation, there's extra slides.
Yeah, of course, just in case it comes up. So,
Right.
very good questions, and trying to follow along with the discussion, particularly as it relates to the western property line. There are a series of ditches that are kind of shown here in blue that really outline 3 of the 4 sides of the property. The western ditch currently is, I think, what we're talking about, how we're providing buffering and what type of treatment we're providing against that ditch. That ditch currently encroaches onto the subject property, so a portion of the ditch is on our site. And it's owned by Seminole County. FDOT, the county, other properties are all draining into that ditch currently, and it floods. We've heard from numerous folks that it's flooded, because we have spoken with the residents who live directly adjacent to the ditch that I think everyone's well aware of and speaking about. We're going to improve that ditch. Royal Palm's going to spend likely over $250,000 to correct the issue with the ditch. So that would, involve, I know we're still in discussions with Seminole County on the exact design, but what will happen is they're going to need a maintenance easement, the county will, on the east side of the ditch. So we're not allowed to do vertical structures in that location, so we can't do a wall. We have contemplated potentially doing a vinyl fence on the west side of the ditch, actually on those residential properties as a just compatibility measure to assist with those residents. But we do have dense landscaping proposed in that location, and we've got some standards in our PD that basically say if the county comes in and rips that out to do maintenance, we'll go replace it at our cost. So it will always be there in perpetuity, but we can't put any sort of vertical structures, and we don't know the exact width of these yet. Numbers have been thrown around anywhere between 20 to 25 feet within the property line. So that's kind of the challenge that we have on the west side of the site. But we have been in contact. I don't know if Camille, you want to add anything, but Camille has been in contact with many of those residents in those areas. One of the gentlemen did show up at our CAP meeting, and we talked him through it. So that's our proposal for that section. And then I'll just kind of circle back on the other one, the landscaping that we talked about, kind of the 30 feet to the parking lot, and we were proposing 0. That's really for this condition down here on the south side adjacent to the commercials. So you have the parking here that's loading directly onto this drive aisle. It didn't make sense for us to do a 30-foot buffer in this location when we're trying to integrate everything together as one project. So just wanted to kind of clarify what that was. If there's questions on any of the other deviations, I think we're prepared to address those individually. And many of them stem from the fact that the code hasn't been updated since it, used to require currently it requires those big house standards as mentioned by staff. We did receive many of those deviations on North Haven. So we really carried a lot of those forward as our starting point.
What goes on the east side? Which I thought there's a chain link fence there now? Is that right?
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. Just for clarification purposes, Mayor Woodruff, could you clarify which portion of the property you're referring to? Is it the single-family homes on the east side, or is it the apartment
No, I'm sorry,
that's
the west
on
side.
on the west side? Sorry, I might have got my east and west mixed
No.
up. The residential homes are on the west side, the apartments are on the east side. Sorry about that, I do that often.
And if you'll just state your name, please.
Sorry, Camille Salami, Royal Palm Companies, 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue, Miami, Florida.
Because there are apartments over here, right?
There are apartments over there. They have an existing fence on their property line.
Okay.
And then
that's
there's a
chain link
30-foot,
fence.
there is, I think it's a chain link fence. There's a 30-foot wide right-of-way. That is that ditch parcel that runs
Okay.
north-south that separates us from them. And then there would be our property line. And as Eric Roche mentioned earlier, the county's been quite clear to us. They're going to need access to that ditch, and they expect access from our property, which would prevent us from placing a wall there.
Okay. All right, and then what goes along Narcissus?
So along Narcissus, there's another ditch, and there the county would have access to the ditch from Narcissus Road. So they don't need access from our property, at least that's our current understanding from the county. So we would be planning to put a fence along that property line, a nice aluminum picket fence,
Okay, so that's
similar to what
gonna be
you've seen at
aluminum.
North Haven already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody follow?
Follow that.
I sort of did.
I appreciate that the applicant was able to discuss that, but
Okay.
I'm glad to know that it took two of them to answer the question.
Well, Camille wanted his chance to stand up there and say something.
Yeah.
Cat. So rough count told me that there were almost between 70 and 75 addresses that were sent notices to. I'm presuming that the normal process was followed. It just seems unusual to me that with that many people contacted, only one came to the meeting. Not that unusual. I know it's usually a big minority, but that just seems really small.
It really depends on the areas and the neighborhood you're in, but we've had many where,
Many are like
50
that?
plus
Okay.
notices have gone out and no one showed up.
I'm just kind of, anticipating the future where all of a sudden 74 of those 75 people are now unhappy and they didn't show up. I know it's up to them to show up, but
Usually they have a community advocate that goes to neighbors and say, did you know about this? Did you see this?
Yeah.
And that may have happened here, because lots of times we get stuff in the mail that we don't really pay attention to.
maybe.
And this could have been that thing or something that you just didn't, and if you don't have an HOA or, that community,
That's
then
not the case,
that you're
yeah.
not talking to your neighbor and say, hey, you need to show up for this one.
Mhm.
And that's where my concern comes for protecting those residential homes on the east side, west side, whatever.
West side. Okay, are we through the deviations, all 100 of them? 'Cause I have a few more questions.
I don't know if we got a full
I
explanation
think
of why.
If we take each of them individually, there's justification for them. There just are a lot.
That 120-foot setback that they went down to, what is that, 75? Can we get a real explanation of that? I know we were talking about ditches and stuff. I apologize, my hand is bothering me tonight. Eileen, is that you or the developer that can talk about the buffer and setback?
Let the applicant speak as to why they did it.
Okay.
We assess more whether or not it's compatible, consistent, and common with multiple other developments before them. So
Okay.
if they want to explain why they did certain deviation requests, that would definitely
I'd
be
appreciate
in there.
that.
And I believe that was the deviation that was immediately on the west side for reducing that setback adjacent to those residential properties.
Yes, sir.
There are, as mentioned, a couple of residential units that access off of Palm Terrace, and we have been in communication with those residents. Mr. Slammy has been. What we did here was we oriented the building, so you can't really see it here, but we tried to not put the building immediately on the property line, so we pulled it off, so you at least have one single double row of parking. And then we oriented the building so they're not getting the long ends of the buildings directly in their backyards. We do have that county ditch parcel, as I mentioned, and we did the double canopy tree treatment on that edge with the 48 shrubs in that location. A lot of this was also necessitated by the Water Management District standards. We have to go up and be more dense because we have so much pond on this site to require for our stormwater. So A lot of that was taken into account in the decision-making to request this deviation. And again, we've coordinated directly with those residents. I can't speak for them because they're not here this evening, but we did meet one of those residents at the CAP and explain the whole project to them, and I know Camille's spoken with the other one at length as well.
Okay, what kind of trees in that two-layer canopy are you putting in?
Let me pull up the landscape plan really quick, but those will be canopy trees.
And I did look up the person that went to the CAP meeting. It's one of those residents.
Okay. Who talked about flooding, but then said it might be his own property that was causing it.
He is not the closest resident, but he's the second closest.
And so those trees haven't been spec'd yet, but they will meet the minimum requirements for the city's canopy tree requirements. But if there are suggestions on what to use in that location, we're certainly open to listening.
Well, I just don't want a bunch of palm trees. You know, we are wiping out like all of those trees just to replace them. You've got oak trees, and we're taking them out because of, you know, to replace with decorative trees. And I've sat with developers before, and they've actually explained to me the root system and why things have to be done. I totally get that. But if we have a buffer and we can keep trees, decent trees, trees that help us to breed, and to, I don't want to see a bunch of palm trees.
I agree with you.
Okay.
So.
Good.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Yes. And just an FYI, I do appreciate all of the amenities that are included in this building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys have done a great job with that. For people who are moving in and can afford apartments like this, there are wonderful amenities. So kudos to that. On the transportation study, the roadway segment analysis was completed. Monroe, Reinhardt, 3 segments of 46, Upsale, and St. John's. It says, using existing counts and annual growth rates, ratios kept below 1.0. Does anyone know what annual growth rates they used? Or is this just standard language you throw in there without validating it?
This is where I step aside and I call on the engineer to help.
And our next engineer, come to the microphone. Give me some numbers.
Yep, good evening, Commission and Mayor. My name is Jeff Rivera with Kimley Horn. I'm the civil engineer for the project, 200 South Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida. So your question was about the average growth rate that was used for the project.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be candid, the traffic engineer for the project couldn't be here. He'll be at the second reading, but they use standard methodology whenever they do these traffic studies. So this site is on an FDOT road, and so the traffic study has to be in conformance with the city of Sanford and with FDOT. Mm-hmm. And we had a pre-application with FDOT last year going over the methodology for the traffic study. And so those growth standards are in accordance with both Sanford and FDOT's approved methods.
Okay. Could you maybe make a note that at the second reading, you can give me a little more detail on the growth rates that were used?
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Okay. We talked about education. The applicant will comply with all requirements with schools regarding school concurrency and capacity. As Commissioner Britton was talking about, we, of course, are concerned not just but now in the future, because we're already seeing some concerns about their ability to accommodate all this new growth. And this won't surprise anybody. Yes, I am concerned about the environmental impact, the wetlands we've talked about. Based on preliminary site evaluation and environmental reporting, these wetlands are believed to be of relatively low ecological quality. I would love to get that past believed to be to absolutely are. I don't know if we can. Maybe another homework assignment for the second reading. Because again, we're constantly mitigating these wetland impacts. And at some point, I want to draw the line legally. Might not be today and probably isn't today, but this is just really concerning me. Also of significance to me, at a minimum, possibly only me, there is an active bald eagle nest located just northwest of the subject property. Applicant has submitted a general take permit application as of August of last year to authorize construction activity in accordance with eagle protection guidelines. Additional coordination with USFWS is underway to ensure full compliance. Is anyone here able to tell me more about a general take permit? Whose turn is it? Come on back up, Camille. Give it a shot.
Good evening again. My non-expert understanding of this, and I will be sure to have biotech consulting here at the next hearing.
Please.
They are the experts at this. Is if actually, Eric, can we go back to the site plan that shows the buffer? And let me see if I can find. Here we go. So which one's the red? So there are these different buffer areas. There's an eagle's nest, as you mentioned, on the adjacent property. That little point right there marks where
It's within the buffer zone.
And so this is a 330-foot buffer, and then this is 660-foot buffer right here. And so there are different requirements within different buffer zones. I believe there's a no improvement zone of roughly 150 feet. But again, I'll have biotech confirm that dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Within 330 feet, they generally allow for horizontal improvements, but like to persuade folks not to do any vertical improvements that may disturb the eagle. And then within 330 to 660, they allow for vertical improvements, but you have to monitor the construction of the project. That way, if you were to disturb an active nest, active means I think the eagle's actually habitating the nest,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps with hatchlings. If the eagle were to display some level of disturbance, you would have to stop construction, let the eagle reacclimate, and then come back to restart construction at a later date when the experts believe it's safe for the eagle to continue to do so. In my conversations with biotech, one of the things that they highlighted for me is there's Narcissus Road that runs east-west right here, an existing industrial development that's immediately north. And that eagle's nest, I think, predates that development and seems to have weathered that quite well. And they believe that because of the acclimation to these surrounding improvements, that this wouldn't be of great disturbance to the eagle, if at all. And the active take permit that we received doesn't mean we're going to take the nest.
Right.
We're not doing anything to the nest. I just want to make sure
For the
that's
That
clear.
doesn't mean take.
That's just,
Right. It
I
doesn't
want
mean
that
that's
take
the
the
term
eagle.
they use. We're
I
not
know,
touching
but
the
I want
nest.
everyone
It's not
to
on our
know.
property. We're not even going to walk past it. Okay.
Right.
It's going to be monitored during construction, and it should hopefully be in safekeeping throughout the entire process. And again, if it's not, there will be a professional there that would stop construction until it's safe to restart.
Okay. I hope you're right about the fact that they've already survived what's already been happening there. I hope this isn't the straw that breaks the eagle's back, so to speak. It is an Audubon monitored nest, so it's not just like any eagle's nest around the area. So this one in particular, I will always be paying attention to. And you doing the legal things that you have to do is good, because I'm going to be watching.
I hope you take this sincerely. I'm very actively involved in all of our development projects in all facets. We always try to do the right thing, whether it's to the wildlife, to our neighbors, for the city. So
Or
I can
go
assure
for
you-
tortoises that aren't as beautiful as the bald eagle, but they kind of do.
Yep, and even when not required by municipalities to go survey for them, we go survey and make sure there are none on the site anyway. And if there were and they needed to be relocated, we take care of that too, unlike maybe some. And part of the site planning, when you had asked about the orientation of it, one of the things that did factor into this was the location of the nest and kind of pushing buildings outside of that while also accommodating the stormwater requirements. So as you can see here, like that was a limiting factor for this building here, and making sure I didn't want to take that step of asking for an accommodation inside of the 330. We wanted to keep that building out of it, and that kind of helped orient the overall site as a whole.
Okay. I appreciate all that information. And bring your bio guy next week.
I will.
Was
2
your
weeks.
question rhetorical about the eagle requirements, or so that he would explain it to the public?
It was,
Or-
yes. I want all the public to
Okay.
understand what a take permit is.
All right.
So when they
'Cause
hear
I was
that,
just
see
going to
it.
concur with basically everything he said,
I'm sure you
based
will.
on my knowledge
I'm
of it
sure you
also.
will. Okay, so I think I've given you all your homework assignments, and that might be all. Let me just do one more double check. Before recommendation, okay, give me one more second so I don't make you get up again.
Okay.
Claudia, are you looking at conditions or just going back over questions that you may have to ask?
I'm not to the conditions, and I think I can probably turn it back to you if you want to talk about the conditions, because we do want to capture those.
Okay.
And
just
I
wanted
know
to
that
ask
the
whatever you were
ultimate,
doing.
Eileen, recommendations, yeah, I think we're to that point. You may sit.
Thank you.
The recommendations do include a list of conditions. So, or maybe that was planning and zoning's list.
No, there's a list of conditions.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we
The
have
question is, did we want to change or
21
add
of
to any of
them.
those
They're
conditions?
requesting to strike one of them. They're requesting to modify one of them. And then if there's anything that you want to clarify or change from what's on the PD master plan or those conditions as noted from the recommendations and the staff assessment, that needs to also be declared.
Specifically, there was some discussion about deviation number 14 with regards to trees. And if that is something that the commission wants to have included, it should be included as one of the conditions, number 23.
Yeah, I think we would like to have the applicant look at if whether or not they can do that and come back with that at the next reading.
So it's more of an advisory condition right now.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Britton, yes?
Yeah, I agree with 14. I'm looking for the one regarding the open space, the 30% versus the, in lieu of the required 50%. Forgive me, I have torn up my book. I believe that's deviation number 2, Commissioner. Yes, ma'am, that's number 2. Thank you, Attorney Green. And then the setback buffer, 120. That's the one next to the single-family homes. Oh, and number 17.
Okay, do we have something we want to add to the conditions?
No, sir.
Okay, so the question about the trees is we would like them to come back and tell us whether we can change that or not next time, right? We're not adding that as a condition at this point? Is that correct?
Why aren't we
What are
adding
you
that?
changing about the trees? Like, what are we to
Well,
work with?
that's what I'm
the
trying to figure out.
Okay. I think they
Plus,
just
we
want,
already have a motion on the floor, so I got to figure out.
right,
where we're going.
declaration of the types of trees. I mean, our standard requirements in Schedule J have a list of what we require as canopy trees.
I think it was the 1 or 2 trees.
Oh, about the parking lot. Is that
Correct.
the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deviation number 4.
So
14.
do you want them to come back with a standard design of what a landscape island would look like, including the trees? Because I think the applicant could probably do that.
2
Just a
canopy
general-
trees per landscape area.
Right, meeting what staff is requesting. The applicant can come back with a, like
See what it looks like.
a layout.
Okay, so we may add that as a condition next time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay. And
Right.
then there was the one they wanted removed, that
which is
staff,
20, the Narcissus Avenue.
which staff recommended against. And since there was no removal of that in the motion, I'm assuming that one is still in. Is that correct? Okay. And we wanted to, staff wanted to add, if needed. Was that it?
That's on 16, condition 16. And the applicant was agreeable to that language.
Okay. And was that part of the motion to include the as needed on condition 16?
Yes.
Okay. So we're all in agreement as to what the motion is, and we have no more to try to add to it at this point?
Just for clarification, are we sticking with the setback next to the residential homes of the from 120 feet to, I think that was 47 feet?
No one asked to change, to make a difference in that condition.
Okay.
So is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir. I'm concerned about that, unless if they are able to get the homeowners, to sign off on it. But Mayor, what I heard you say was the homeowner that attended the CAP meeting was the one that was a little bit further away. I would like to hear from that homeowner, unless Commissioner Wiggins, you say something different. Just to make sure that we're protecting the property rights and the peace and tranquility of those existing properties first.
I don't have a problem with that, but I don't wanna say we wanna hold it up, because what if they reach out to that citizen and they can't get in touch with that person? And so, I mean, I don't wanna hold them up.
Well, we have a second reading, but
I mean, if they can't get in touch with them, I don't wanna hold that up and be able to punish them.
We've got at least 6 houses, it looks like, that
Okay.
are up against there.
being that I know that we don't want to hold up development, but I'm no disrespect, I'm not concerned about development at this time that doesn't exist. But those properties, those homeowners, they do exist, and I don't want a line of people saying that the city didn't consider, or take every avenue to make sure that they were notified that you have this high intensity development that's coming right there. I at least would like to have another attempt to address it, especially because the buffer, we are bending so much on the setback and buffer.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I understand that the applicant had talked to those other? Okay.
Okay.
Can we get something from them?
And we're not concerned with the buffer on the east side where the Stratford Point apartments are.
No, not at all. Just that
It's
lines
still
up against
open, so
the
please.
residential.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the concern. I think we're being asked to prove a negative. So they were sent a notice for a CAP meeting that was held many months ago, and one person showed up. They were also sent notice specific to this and the deviations for planning and zoning meeting, and I believe one gentleman showed up. I can't even remember if he spoke. We spoke to him afterwards, our team. We obviously had introduced ourselves. They also got notice for this meeting, and nobody showed up. So we believe we have demonstrated compatibility. Again, that setback, while we're saying it's from the west side, it's actually, the setback is from the ditch. And there is a county ditch that runs behind those neighbors and then our property. So when we're looking at the distances, we're talking about what we're asking to be decreased from our building setback to the ditch, and then there's the ditch, and then their homes.
Okay.
But I appreciate that you're looking out for the neighbors, but we're just not going to be able to agree that we can contact them and get them to opine on this. We've certainly received many notices.
So you did
And
send a
we're
notice,
familiar-
including the information about the deviations. They got that as well.
The city sent them notice twice, and we'll send them notice.
No.
You've sent them notice twice, and we sent them notice once, so they've gotten 3 notices.
And I just want to, we're all familiar with you, just state
Oh,
your
I'm so
name,
sorry.
please. I know.
My name is Rebecca Wilson, 215 North Eola Drive, here on behalf of the applicant, and I will fill out the yellow form.
She's still Rebecca Wilson.
It still doesn't meet the code, and it doesn't meet how me as a commissioner am satisfied in the people being contacted. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying it still doesn't meet our code, which leads it up for denial. So I'm trying to take every precaution to look out for that existing property. Because a lot of this does not meet our code.
We as she stated, Mayor, we've reached out to them 3 times. So I don't believe it's up to them to go and look and try to find somebody. We've done it 3 times, so I'm all right with it.
Okay. As long as that's on the record, I'm good with that.
I'm all right with it.
Okay. All right. So everything's
I don't like it, but okay.
okay, but we're clear on what the motion is,
Yeah.
right? Eileen, I do have one more question.
Okay.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the deviations and how our code doesn't really lend itself to what anyone would actually build.
Right now, but
right.
yes, okay.
And I know we always talk about PDs as negotiated zoning, where we give, they give, we meet in the middle, okay? What are you identifying that they are providing as enhancements that we would be able to lean on if someone else proposed some of these same deviations?
Well, they are doing an extensive amount of landscaping on the west side where they are creating this reduction in buffer. They are providing for a very large amenity package, which is something that we don't see in a lot of our communities. They try to bring as few amenities as possible, like a bench and a trash can was one applicant's attempt at an amenity, if you recall.
I remember that one.
Okay, so they are bringing an enhanced amenity package. And then the majority of their deviations are consistent with the development style of today and the last several projects that we've done along Reinhardt Road and 46.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Eileen, are there also not some improvements to the surrounding roads where this project is going to be that they are investing in?
They are putting in turn lanes. They are putting in cross-access between their project. They are creating additional access points besides the just one into the project. And then
And they're fixing the ditch.
they're doing some cleanup on the ditch as well. Correct.
Okay, maybe not fixing the ditch. They're improving the ditch.
Doing some improvements on the ditch as well. So yes, there are some
Okay.
off-site improvements that are also being presented as part of this overall PD master plan.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was part of the record. We did reopen the public hearing, so if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item, see no one, I'll close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the commission? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously?
Do your homework.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
All right.
members of the commission, I just would like to say that we look forward to having another North Haven with the two H's, that kind of quality, because it's a beautiful development.
I don't agree with
Thank you. Thank y'all.
That's not the whole commission.
Okay, first reading of ordinance 4863, Ms. Green.
An ordinance of the City of Sanford, Florida to amend the North Park Plan Development, a real property site totaling 1.37 acres in size, tax identification parcel number 2119-30-514-0000-0100, which is generally addressed as 3848 Enterprise Way within the city limits, to establish indoor vehicular dealer sales as a permitted use, providing for the taking of implementing administrative actions, providing for the adoption of a map by reference, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, on June the 4th of 2026, the city's Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend that the City Commission adopt an ordinance to amend the North Park PD to allow indoor vehicle dealer sales with no outdoor activities. It is therefore staff's recommendation that the City Commission approve of ordinance number 4863.
Okay, this is quasi-judicial. If anyone has anything to declare. Okay, Ms. Sensen?
And for the record, Mayor, when you did have the witnesses or anyone want to be sworn in, the applicant and owner did stand up and take the oath.
Right.
Okay. North Park, PD zoning amendment. So the request is to amend 1.37 acres of the overall North Park plan development, specifically Lot 10. So 3848 Enterprise Way, owned by DL Fox Properties, and the applicant was Mr. Sid Pauline Jr. The zoning is planned development, future land use is Westside Industry and Commerce, which we've had vast discussions about this evening. The North Park PD was originally established in 2007 and has had several amendments since. On September 4th, the conditional use approval was approved for vehicular service and repair, high-end, appointment-only vehicles. The conditional use business was specific to the business only, and no outdoor impacts were anticipated as part of this business. So what's before you now is to establish indoor boutique vehicular dealer sales, appointment-only operations, no repair, no bodywork, no hazardous materials, and it should also have minimal impact on the site. So this is the location of the parcel in question, and then surrounding it you can see the overall larger North Park PD and all the really large industrial buildings that are out there. So when the applicant came in, he came in to do a PD rezone, and staff approached it from PD rezone for the entire North Park, and we were going to require conditional use for any automotive if we were going to open up the automotive. And during the P&Z, the review of the PD amendment became for Lot 10 specifically. So based on the hearing, staff supported indoor-only vehicular dealer sales for Lot 10 instead of opening up a conditional use for the entire center, because what that would do is rezone the property and then turn around and make the applicant go back through a conditional use on the same lot that we were currently reviewing, which we had already done a conditional use for automotive, for the automotive service several months ago. So the applicant agreed to this indoor-only condition, restricting it to Lot 10 only. The P&Z determined the indoor sales would maintain low intensity, avoid outdoor display, and remain compatible with the surrounding PD and industrial uses. And the P&Z recommended to approve the PD amendment to allow indoor vehicular dealer sales only for Lot 10 only. So in your packet are the few conditions that we did attach, and then specifically the only one of definite relative to this is the indoor vehicular dealer sales, no outdoor activities permitted on Lot 10 as recorded in the plat book of public records of Seminole County. So thank you.
And this is apparently for very custom vehicles that will be sold online.
Very
So
high-end vehicles.
it's kind of more just a storage of these high-end vehicles and keep them inside and all is good.
Okay,
So-
did the applicant want, were you done? Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, applicant? Mr. Verlaine?
If you need to speak, yes. All you.
Is this the real one and only Mr. Verlaine himself?
Really? Yes, hello, hello.
You're a neighbor of mine.
Yes, my name is Sid Verlaine, and I'm involved with D.L. Fox Properties, 3865 Enterprise Road. Mayor and Commissioners, city staff, before I make a comment, just a side note, I serve as co-trustee of the Hickman estate, the Hickman Trusts. And the Hickman Trusts, related to your last applicant, owns that 9 acres, Commissioner, that the eagle has nested on. And when the trust bought the property, the eagle wasn't there, and it is now there. So if you want any information about the eagle, we can give you all of the details.
I appreciate that.
Yes. And the Hickman Trust just built and opened the Comfort Inn Hotel out at the airport. We're very proud of that. D.L. Fox Properties operates in the industrial area at Rand Yard, which is the big railroad yard. Sunrail operates there with the shops and so forth. And the business model for D.L. Fox is to build upgraded industrial buildings and enter long-term leases with vetted businesses that are financially sound and compatible. And this application before you relates to one of those. D.L. Fox in that neighborhood has built 18 buildings, 308,000 total square feet. We have a 64,000 square foot building under construction and another 26,000 with your Sanford staff and permitting. And 100% of these buildings are leased. There are no vacancies. And the business before us today is Collective Auto Group. Corey Gillinger is the owner. They operate now in Longwood. They want to move to Sanford to this building. And it's very unique. We had, this is the building proposed, and it's only the north half. It's not the total building, the north half. And when we negotiated the relationship, Corey sells exotic cars, sports cars that range from 80,000, which is the low end, to a couple of 100,000. He stocks 8 to 16 cars. The cars will be stored inside. The sales method is not local advertising, it's internet. And the business only has 3 employees. They'll only take up about 4 spaces. And this is a typical car. And
I hope one of them is security.
yes, they will have a top security system. There will be no mechanical work, and they will be brought in, stored inside, and shown inside, but there's very little traffic. It's pretty much internet. And Corey is here. Would you want to make a comment?
Good evening. I'm Corey Gallinger, the owner of Collective Auto Group. I think Mr. Valine's kind of covered everything. It's obviously high-end vehicles. They're all stored inside. We don't do anything outside. Just a couple employees, very minimal parking. All the vehicles are marketed online, sold essentially sight unseen. Very minimal traffic to the business, and it's by appointment. So.
And very high security.
Yes.
Take care of those cars.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We have we are compliant. We had the public meeting. There's no opposition. The neighborhood, other renters know about Corey. Everyone supports it, and we had unanimous P&Z support. So we ask that you consider approving this. When I met with staff initially, I met with Adam, and Adam looked up the existing development order and the zoning category, and retail auto sales didn't fit. So we devised the fact that we would have to amend the current approved zoning for the industrial park, which is North Park, and that's what's before you, an amendment.
All right.
That's the
Okay.
end of our comment,
Thank
unless
you.
there are questions.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Valine.
All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone from the audience wish to speak to this item or set up an appointment to buy a car? Okay. See, no one will close the
Not on
public
our
hearing.
salary.
We'll bring it to the commission for action.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you.
Good to see you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Valine.
Thank you.
First reading of ordinance 4864.
An ordinance of the Sanford City Commission with adopting evaluation and appraisal report pursuant to section 163.3191 Florida statutes, directing the city manager to transmit the adopted EAR and all required supporting documents to the Florida Department of Commerce and all other required state and regional agencies pursuant to sections 163.3184 and 163.3191 Florida statutes, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Commission, City of Sanford has completed the evaluation and appraisal report for the 2018-2030 Comprehensive Plan, covering the evaluation period 2018 to 2026. State law requires each local government to periodically assess its comprehensive plan to determine whether amendments are necessary based on changes in state law, local conditions, and community priorities. It is our request now the City Commission approve ordinance number 4864 on first reading and direct staff to transmit the evaluation and appraisal report to associated documents to the Department of Economic Opportunity and other applicable state agencies for review.
Okay, so the next one is the EAR requirement, the evaluation and appraisal report. We've talked about this a few times at previous hearings that it was going to come before you. We had done the statistical analysis for it several months ago, sometime last year. But because of Senate Bill 180, we had been holding to see if this legislative session would make any changes to make this easier for us. So as it was determined that it did not, and Senate Bill 180 still causes some complications with us updating certain elements of our comprehensive plan, Adam and I decided to move forward with updating the absolute minimums that were required in order to keep our projections up to date so that the comp plan itself is up to date and in compliance for whatever we need in the event we should need to make a text update or a large-scale amendment, because the comp plan stays in effect. However, if you want to make changes to it, you can't make changes until this process is done. So, Florida state statutes requires periodic evaluation of a comprehensive plan. As noted in your staff report and somewhat on the screen before you, we're required to evaluate the effectiveness of the current comprehensive plan, identify whether amendments are needed, document the changes in state law since our last evaluation, assess local demographic, economic, environmental, and infrastructure needs, and then evaluate whether the comp plan continues to rely on updated 10-year and 20-year population housing, land use, and infrastructure projections. So, the purpose is to assess the effectiveness of our 2018 to 2030 plan, determine whether amendments were needed. The scope of this EAR is not going to be a plan amendment. We're going to identify whether updates may be needed, and then Senate Bill 180 clearly limits that nothing can be interpreted as more restrictive or burdensome, and we can't adopt anything like that at this time. So some of the changes that we do want to make, or some of the changes even that would be required by law, we cannot make. So state law requires, the state law changes are the property rights element, the resilience and peril of flood requirements, the water supply planning requirements, which our utilities staff is currently working on, the Live Local Act, which affects, of course, the housing, and then Senate Bill 180, which restricts local governments from adopting more burdensome or more restrictive regulations. So local conditions, the population growth, housing demand, mobility needs, infrastructure capacity, and resilience are what we took a look at. The plan performance of the goals, objectives, and policies, they still remain functional, as I noted, and they're still effective. But if we needed to make another change other than this EAR, we couldn't do it until the EAR was done. So we're going to make our best efforts to get this through the state as an update to our planning horizons so that we can have reliance on our 10 and 20-year projections as required by state statute. So the mandatory updates were the water supply plan, which we're working on, and the capital improvements element, and annual updates are required on that anyway. So The other thing that it does address is the school concurrency data, and we have to remain consistent with the Seminole County Public Schools interlocal agreement, which we are a part of, and these updates are permitted because they are not more restrictive. All right, so the future land use element, redevelopment trends, annexation impacts, and growth projections are what we took a look at. Housing, these are the recommended updates based on what we reviewed in the process, none of which we're making today. So the redevelopment trends, annexation impacts for future land use element, affordability, diversity, and live local impacts on the housing element, the traffic volumes, multimodal needs, Sunrail integration in the mobility element, stormwater, flood mitigation, and long-range capacity planning in the infrastructure and resilience. So these are all going to be deferred, as anything we do to them may be seen as more burdensome. So the plan remains effective, requires this EAR update to make any large-scale or text changes. The comprehensive plan continues to be an effective growth management tool, and we do use it in each and every public hearing. There are no text amendments proposed in this update, as we're prevented to adopt any, well, let's say most policy changes at this time. So the data updates is what we're doing in this plan. We're updating the population, land use, mobility, and infrastructure projections to meet the 10 and 20-year horizons, and future substantive policy changes are going to be deferred under Senate Bill 180. So our next steps is to monitor the legislation, initiate the amendments when allowed. So today we're just asking you to act and transmit the EAR ordinance number 4864 on first reading, and then we will send it to the state agencies, direct staff. Your job is to direct staff to transmit the EAR and supporting documentation to Department of Commerce and all other reviewing agencies.
Okay, so the items in red are those that you were talking about, which is mostly just updating the years, the horizons, things like that. So there's nothing that's outside of the text that you think could be added now that's less restrictive.
We don't want to risk getting this rejected.
Muddying that with this.
Right, because we can always make text amendments in the future and get that rejected, but we want the EAR to go through.
Okay.
So we have made it as minimally changed to not flag anything, but still meet the requirements of the projections that must be updated.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
What is the timeline on Senate Bill 180? Doesn't it, if we don't have any hurricanes, are we clear at some point this fall?
July 1 of 27 right now. So a whole year. July of 27, from the way I understand it. July 1 of 27 is when it actually resets. But I don't know that we can make
I thought it was
another.
a year after the last hurricane.
Yeah. If there is, it could be later.
Right, but since, when was our last hurricane?
We didn't have none last year.
We looked it up and it has something to do with January of 27. So, I mean, we'll all know when Senate Bill 180 is no longer a thing. But,
okay.
It'll be well known through the planning.
Okay, I thought it was tied to the date of the last emergency declaration, or maybe some time period after the last emergency declaration.
With the passage of the bill passed, it set that date, 2 years from now.
Right, that was July 1st. And then anything after that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone from the audience wish to speak to this item? See no one, I'll close the public hearing, bring the commission for action.
Move to approve. I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Citizens' participation. I don't have any requests. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the commission?
And thanks, Eileen and Adam.
Okay. Seeing no one, we'll go on to other items. Approved settlement agreement, Mr.
Yes,
Bonaparte.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, City staff is requesting Commission approval of the settlement agreement between the City of Sanford and Mikey International Group LLC and Solid Planet LLC, resolving the dispute arising from Historic Preservation Board's denial and subsequent appeal under Florida Statute 70.51, the Florida Land Use and Environmental Dispute Resolution Act.
Okay, I stared at these pictures. I can't figure out what they're doing other than They're just digging the dirt out so the house looks higher?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
They're
sort of,
adjusting the grading to allow the porch to be a thing.
okay.
So everything around the house is gonna go.
I'm
I don't know,
concerned about the statement on 809 Locust, where it says, per City of Sanford request, there will be a low point at the bottom of the stairs with no relief for rainwater. Should I be concerned about that, Mr. Attorney? It's on the grading plan for 809 Locust.
The city engineer has reviewed it, and we
Right,
have.
it went through review, and the city engineer reviewed it and approved those plans prior to us bringing it to you today. The plans were submitted for review by the city and approved.
Okay, but I don't understand the statement. Per City of Sanford request, there will be a low point at the bottom of the stairs with no relief for rainwater. I read that as, if the front of your house floods, it's Sanford's fault.
I had the same concern.
Yes, sir. Come on up, please. Oh, it is open.
I represent the applicant here. So the
I'm
low
sorry,
point, I
could you
believe, was
repeat
just
your
to
name,
show-
please?
Yes, Michael Candiotti, 201 East Pine Street, Orlando, Florida.
Thank you.
The low point was created, as you say, we dug it down to create a vertical relief to create the stairs. We're going to put in some new new sodding, and the retention was identified by city planning to be addressed, which we had our engineer go back and they've confirmed there will not be any flooding that will result from this additional down digging. There's going to be some overall recontouring of the ground. There is a drop from the property directly to the roadway as well.
Okay, so is the regrading just at the steps, or is it all the way across the
It's
front?
going to be there's going to be a digging of the whole frontage.
Okay, all the way across the front.
Yeah.
To allow for the porch that was originally intended.
Okay.
But not along the sides, just the front.
Correct?
Yes,
Just
I
along
believe
the
that's
front.
correct. The engineers looked at it from the standpoint of water retention, because that was one of the concerns that the city engineer and city attorney had brought up, and frankly, so had I. And they assured us that this shouldn't be a problem.
And the interpretation of the phrase, no relief for
My understanding is
rainwater.
that means that there shouldn't be any additional drainage necessary from that point, that the final point is that, but I had not a chance to discuss that with them. Yeah, so there's no additional relief for rainwater from that bottom of the steps, so that the bottom of the steps shouldn't have any additional further
Just
digging down.
poorly worded there.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. But it will still slope to the street?
That's the intention, yes.
Okay.
So based upon the agreement, because all of this is going to be on record, the design as approved will not result in the collection of rainwater at the front of the property. That rainwater will still pool out into the street.
Correct, that's my understanding.
And that is.
I'm not an engineer, but that's what we.
Well, that's what we're agreeing
Yes,
to. I'm making
agreed.
clarification as
Sure.
to what we're agreeing to. And when it says no relief for rainwater, does not mean that we're agreeing to rainwater pooling at that area, but in fact, it is being engineered in such a manner that the rainwater will pool away from the property, correct?
Yes, we can make that amendment to the agreement as
Okay.
well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? All right. And then I'll bring the commission for action.
Let the magic happen.
Move to approve.
Second. Yeah, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Second amendment to the sixth participation agreement. Yes,
And I will
Mr.
just, I'm sorry, Mr. Manager, I will just include that language that we spoke of in this agreement prior to execution, since everyone is on page with it, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr.
Yes,
Bonaparte.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, City staff recommends City Commission approve the second amendment to the sixth participation agreement to provide funding to up to $144,855 to improve the correction action plan approved by Environmental Protection Agency for the former Sanford gasification plant site.
Okay. Questions or a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay. Just for fun, we were talking about this when I was first elected to the commission.
Oh, my goodness.
So
That's why there have been so many.
1877?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Subrecipient agreement.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, city staff is recommending the City Commission approve the sub-reciprocant agreement with the Sanford Airport Authority for the management and administration of the $2.8 million grant funds awarded by the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the State and Tribal Assistance Grant to the Sanford Airport Authority for the extension of approximately 6,000 linear feet of water and wastewater lines along the corridor containing the South Burdell Avenue and Moore Station Road.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Order of condemnation.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff is requesting commission approval of the order of condemnation of the structured location on a single lot addressed as 931 West 11th Street.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Order of condemnation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff is requesting commission approval of an order of condemnation on the structure located on a single lot addressed as 1610 William Clark Avenue.
Questions or
Move
motion?
to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
And before we go further, I just want to confirm on the record that there are no property owners present with regard to 931 West 11th Street or 1610 William Clark Avenue. So noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 3490.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff is recommending commission approve resolution 3490, amending the budget and reallocating funds in the amount of $839,890.60 from the PFAS class action settlement as proposed.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff is recommending the commission approve the procurement of one permanent replacement Caterpillar diesel generator system and two $3,000 amp automated transfer switches from Ring Power of St. Augustine for the plants division. This automation will include a Prudonok, as you pronounce that, request to increase the purchase order by $70,000 for the ongoing rental of backup generator and transfer switches currently being deployed at the North Water Reclamation Facility.
Okay. And I apologize. I think I said that wrong earlier. Had the words out of order.
You're out of order.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3492.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, staff is requesting the commission approve Resolution 3492, amending the city budget in an amount of $60,000 and approve the procurement of services of a Budget Tree Service, Inc.
Okay. Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3493.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commission, the staff is requesting approval of Resolution 3493 for the budget amendment and approval of procurement of the 2026 Toro Z Master 5000 72-inch mower.
Move to approve.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, and it's my understanding that this is the one that was on next year's CIP, and we're buying it now. Is that correct?
It was on this year's CIP.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Resolution 3494.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff is requesting commission approval of Resolution 3494 to amend the capital budget in the amount of $35,833 for the procurement of the change order proposals for Fire Station 40.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. And Resolution 3495.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff recommending commission approve Resolution 3495, amending the fiscal year 26 budget by $956,190. This amendment will make the 2026 25-26 budget total $460,335,314 citywide.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. We have an add-on, the interlocal with Seminole County Sheriff's.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, the staff is requesting the commission approve the interlocal agreement for the use of the Seminole County Sheriff's Office training vehicles between Seminole County Sheriff's Office and the city of Sanford.
Okay. Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
I didn't get a chance to read through all of this.
The sheriff is going to let us use his training vehicles for emergency vehicle operations and for pit maneuvers.
Okay.
For free, but if we break something, we have to fix it.
Fair. In that case, I'm good.
We have to approve it for insurance purposes.
I like his description.
Mine's better.
Okay. Do we have a
Move to
motion and a
approve.
second? We did. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. City attorney comments.
I have no comments this evening, thank you.
City clerk's report.
Yes, sir. Just in going back to what we discussed briefly at work session regarding the board appointments, we are missing a few from several of our boards, so we'll be working over the next 2 weeks to make sure that we can get those filled so that we don't have any more items not meet quorum.
Okay. Thank you. City manager's report.
Yes, just 2 items from the work session. One is that we will go ahead and notify the Florida League of Cities that Commissioner Thomas will be the city's voting delegate at the upcoming conference. And the commission also indicated that Commissioner Bracken will be picking the color for the chambers. So once you've done that, please let me know.
Yes, sir, will do.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I've got a couple of things. Former Commissioner Haney would really appreciate this, but at the airport, there is going to be a Happy Cat Hotel and Spa.
Oh, my goodness.
So if you are traveling, there will be a place for you to leave your favorite feline.
Commissioner Mahaney, wherever you are,
For
listen.
those of y'all that are familiar with it, it's, years ago, there was a, motor vehicles. That's where you went and took your driver's test, years and years ago. And
Oh,
was a
that
vet
building,
clinic.
okay.
So going down Airport Boulevard on the right in one of those little buildings, that's where it's going to be.
Cute.
So, and I have to apologize on behalf of, well, not on behalf of the commission, to the commission, really, I completely missed going to the Goldsboro Front Porch Council banquet Saturday night. And we were given a City of Sanford Service Award. Commissioner Wiggins accepted this for us in deep appreciation of your unwavering support and dedicated service for 25 years to Goldsboro Front Porch and the entire Goldsboro community. Remembering our past and looking to the future, July 11, 2026, Goldsboro Front Porch Council.
Very nice.
Nice.
I'm going to run through these quick, so I'll give you a list later. I was looking at our goals and, what are things we, just reminding us of a couple of things. One is fire department master plan, getting to ISO 1. One is where are we with customer service training? Are we looking into solar on any of our buildings? In conjunction with the budget, we wanted to look at an outsourcing maintenance contract with ABM or somebody like that. And I know Elizabeth met with us and talked about the workflow brochures, just where are we with that? And then one other thing, Metro Plan is looking at e-bikes. I know Orange County, I think, was looking at an e-bike ordinance. The state passed one. The governor vetoed it. They're looking at, for at least our region, to be doing something on e-bike safety. So I don't know that we want to do something individually, but let's put that on our radar of things to worry about.
That was almost one of our priorities legislatively last year.
The stats on what's happening with those is sort of scary in terms of injuries. They're trying to push something into the schools. I wasn't real thrilled about that because schools already have plenty to do, but unfortunately, or fortunately, that's where there is a captive audience. So they've actually put together a training program that they can push out through the teaching program that the schools use, Canvas. And they had really good results with a pilot school in Orange County. They're trying to look at doing that.
I think that's a really good
Central
idea.
Florida-wide.
I think that's a really good idea. The enforcement realm of that gets really, really tricky and scary. Passing any laws or ordinances against that really make the police officers' hands are already handcuffed, dealing with the dirt bikes and other things, and not being able to chase them and cause harm. It gets really, really muddy. So I think education is a great way to go about it, much like bike helmets. You know, bike helmets were passed mandatory years ago.
But
A lot of kids still don't. A lot of
They're
kids
not
do.
mandatory on the e-scooters.
Nope, they're not mandatory on e-scooters.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention
Yeah.
because we will probably hear
Good.
more about that. Commissioner Thomas.
Well, I almost don't have anything. I've been out for a bit. We did the Liberty Tree dedication that a couple of you were also at. That was very nice. Yeah, I just got back from Canada. I also shout out to Derek Kritzer and Theater West End, and to my two favorite citizens who come to every meeting for coming to the show. I'm kind of on a depression now. Yeah, they came twice. You're just gluttons for punishment. So yeah, I'm kind of back in catch-up mode. So I think that's all I have.
Commissioner Austin.
How about that?
It's been a few weeks since I reached out and asked about this, and I've heard back from no one, and that disappoints me. I asked about our city taking action, being proactive, and maybe having a moratorium on data centers. I've not heard back from planning. I've not heard back from the city attorney. I've not heard back from the city manager, and I'm not happy about that. So I would once again, publicly now, instead of trying to do it through email or message, I am concerned with what I see happening across the country. I'm concerned about what our future may involve as far as our leadership at the state level. I think we need to look into this. I think Seminole County has started looking into it. Commissioner Lockhart went to a conference about it. I think we need to take this serious. Yes, we don't have a lot of locations. Yeah. I'm always told that. But then, boom, a problem pops up in our city. So let's just be proactive for the first time, please, and take this serious. They're just bad. They're
I
bad.
will be attending a workshop at the leadership conference.
They're
Leader
bad.
Cities.
The other,
Well, wait, so is there consensus to move forward with a moratorium on data centers?
I support that.
I support it.
Okay.
Would you want to move forward with it, or do you want it as a discussion item?
I think the discussion is how to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put something together for us to agree to vote on?
What are we allowed to do per Tallahassee?
Do it quick before they do a moratorium. Well, not-
Can we say no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Senate Bill 180, but I'll go ahead and prepare a memorandum for you.
Senate Bill 180 prohibits moratorium.
I was
Oh,
gonna say,
you're
because
right.
we couldn't, I asked for one on apartments, and we couldn't do that.
Or creating restrictive codes regarding.
But haven't I seen other places?
Other
Do
communities
I'll
are
prepare a
doing it.
memorandum for you, but at first glance, that's going to be the major hurdle in this, but you want to know what's a pathway, so I'll prepare a legal memo for you.
Well, and I will definitely find out at this workshop in 1 month. They're having a workshop specifically on data centers in Florida.
Right, I've just seen municipalities struck down for less, is my point. But I'll prepare a memo just so
Might be
we
why they're doing
have an
the workshop.
understanding.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
My other issue is what I brought up the other day at the budget session, and I brought up through messages. I do not understand the action the city manager took against the Public Art Commission. I do not understand why we are still considering having so much in a budget next year for them, but yet this year they have been frozen and their funds have been taken away. I want answers. I want this discussed at some point. I don't know where he gets the authority to overstep the commission and the will of the commission and the budget set forth by the commission without first coming and discussing it with the commission. I also am concerned about what the real reasons are behind this. I believe it was to stop us from purchasing a piece of art we want to purchase from the land. And it actually would be a purchase. I understand staff and city manager are against the rental program the Public Art Commission signed up for. This would actually be a purchase, but they have reached nothing but roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And the final roadblock was, boom, the city manager all of a sudden, without discussion with them, eliminating their budget for the year. And I will submit, as I did previously, a good portion of their budget every year goes to the city attorney. So where is that money going, since it's not being used with having any more hearings this year? That again is my issue, and I want answers. I didn't get them still. I thought maybe I would tonight, but I thought wrong.
Commissioner, we can certainly put it on a work session agenda for next meeting. In short, I thought, based on the climate right now, for the city to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars on art, when the public is saying that the cities in the state are not spending money wisely, I thought it would be good to just hold on that for right now.
But you unilaterally made that decision after the commission had approved that budget, after the commission had given the PAC orders or...
They have authority based upon the city manager.
So it's based on you, not the commission?
When we pass a budget, aren't we telling them what his spending authority is, not telling him he has to spend it?
Correct.
That's my understanding of.
Okay, well, did you freeze any other budgets in the city?
The hiring freeze.
No, did you freeze any other budgets in the city?
No.
Did you stop any other spending? Did you stop any travel? Did you stop any conferences? Did you stop anything else in the city other than public art?
No, and the reason is I thought that the climate right now was not good for the city to be spending money on art.
Okay, and how much money was left for them to spend this year?
They have some money, and plus we're going to be looking at least maintenance on the art that's already put up.
So you don't even know how much money you saved the city by doing this, but you found nothing else in this city in the meantime to cut out and save the taxpayers' money.
That was the most glaring.
I have major issues with all of this. And that is just me, and I'm only one person up here.
I would like to discuss it at the next work.
Okay, so the clerk can put it down as a discussion item for the next work session.
That's all.
All right, Commissioner Wiggins.
I'd like to commend the rec department on a great 4th of July celebration. My family and I really enjoyed it, as always. Last Friday, in partners with my brothers Mark and Ryan with Picnic Project, the founders, we were able to give out 33,000 pounds of groceries to 300 plus families, to 1,300 citizens, from the football team to Allen Chapel. Numerous other volunteers were there, and we were doing it at 105 degrees heat. SPD, thank y'all as well too, my brothers and sisters. Again, another great event for the community as a whole, and thanking everybody that came together. As the mayor has stated, Saturday night, again, wanted to commend Goldsboro Front Porch on the 25-year celebration. I want to also congratulate the recipients that received the awards, but most of all, Dr. Velma Williams, for God allowing her to have this vision and use her to bring this in fruition, and how Goldsboro Front Porch has really helped so many men and women, not just in the Goldsboro District 2 area, but Sanford area as a whole. And last but not least, next Thursday, after my community meeting, I'll have my 6th annual Back to School event in partnership with Seminole County Public Schools, the 3 high schools, Seminole High, Crooms, Lake Mary, middle schools, the 4 middle schools in our area, all of the elementary schools and different departments. So if any parents, grandparents, or whomever wants to come out after the meeting, I have this information on my website as well. Come on out, please spread the word. We have different departments there to help our families. That is it. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Brett.
Mayor, members of the commission, and to the residents that I represent, District 1, but the city as a whole, I am really concerned about all of this development that's happening. I am the water demand, sewer capacity, fire response, police calls, school impacts, the traffic on 46 alone now. It's one of the main entrances and exits to our city, to our downtown. I don't understand all of the rules that we have that says that we can't have moratoriums. I do understand that we have rules and regulations and things are state regulated, but we have literally got to start thinking about tomorrow. Yes, we have capacity today, but do we have capacity tomorrow? We are adding more and more and more. 46 is not even recognizable now. You are stuck in traffic on 46, and we keep getting these traffic reports and saying that, yes, we can do this and we cannot do that. But when you're actually there, that traffic is backed up. We have all of the lights now. We've done all of the streetscapes and the medians and everything. However, I am very concerned about the next 10 years of this city. We've had contradicting presentations stating that we do have water, we may not have water. We are building rapidly, and I'm just really concerned about that, and I just want to put that on the record. I'm not saying that I'm against development, but I am very concerned about how quickly we're developing and how much we're putting on these small parcels. I want to talk about this last meeting that we just had, and just to echo kind of with what Commissioner Austin said, some things really bothered me at that last meeting. When we're up here, I don't believe that we're on trial or that we need to be interrogated. If we're bringing something to the commission, if we're bringing something to the city manager regarding our bosses, which are the people of Sanford, it shouldn't be like, I'll give an example when Patrick was talking about the what it looks like from the people of us not being open for business, the city hall being closed on that Thursday. It seemed like he was met with the attack when he's just giving you the report from what he's hearing. And it is the perception of what we have. We are not attacking staff. I'm not attacking the city manager or anyone up here. I'm doing my job as an elected official to say, these are the reports that I am receiving. And I'm bringing it to the commission, especially because we have limited time to discuss these matters. So when we're bringing it, it's to bring it to the discussion because we are responding to our bosses. Another thing that I did not care for, the city clerk reminded me of what my job is as an elected official. I am well aware that the city manager manages the employees. I'm also very aware that the city manager answers to the city commission. And so if I'm bringing things up about the budget, or let's do A, B, and C to try to help save jobs, to try to help restructure, I don't need to be reminded of what my position is. Let's remember the hierarchy here. I did not appreciate that, and I don't like to see that happen because I don't check other people, and I don't like to be checked up here. That ends my report for District 1.
We're adjourned.
great evening.
So did you win an Emmy or an Oscar or?
Yes.
Who was this play?
I not only did
I think we should put it somewhere.
I had to do it off book, and I get the first rehearsal. Oh, by the way, we're gonna have you play Hedwig's mom, so you're gonna have some lines too. Okay then, not a problem.
All right.